Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 41. The War Begins. The latest news is that the astral body did not return to Tokyo immediately. They chose to stay in Okinawa. Night. Luo Cheng got the latest news from Kong Shiyu. Gojo Satoru and his party did not rush back to the high school, but stayed in Okinawa overnight. I have begun to wonder what the other person is thinking in his mind. Are you simply fulfilling the astral body's last wish, or are you trying to stall for time until the reward order expires? It's possible. If he really thinks so, he will be completely fooled by you. No matter what considerations Gojo Satoru had, this matter was harmless to Luo Cheng and the two of them. Excuse me, you can continue to watch over there. It's so touching to hear a thank you. Kong Shiyu once again complained about Fuhaisher, which was the reason why he was more willing to communicate with Luo Cheng than Fuhaisher. This made Kong Shiyu feel that he was more normal. After hanging up the phone, Luo Cheng began to meditate, simulating a fight with Sha Yuji in his mind. He has performed this kind of meditation more than 100 times in just one day, and his chance of winning is astonishingly 100%. Of course, these simulations are all based on the cursed spirit displayed by Sha Yuji. It is still unknown what dangers cursed spirit the other party hides. Still can't relax. But one thing is certain, Sha Yuji's hand-to-hand combat skills are not bad. Apparently he knows the greatest weakness of the spiritual master and has specialized in practicing it. But it's just not bad. Compared with him, the Sky and the Tyrant, it's too far behind. Luo Cheng kept sorting out Sha Yuji's characteristics and habits. Although those curse users failed to force him to use his full strength, they exposed Sha Yuji to many things, which could be used against him. A person's habits cannot be changed in a short time. They are accumulated over many years. It does not mean that I can change if I want to. Everything is ready. Luo Cheng stood up, his exposed muscles looking like sculptures under the moonlight. It was very different from a year ago, when his physical body lacked vitality. Although he was the tyrant of heaven and earth, his body was only several times stronger than ordinary people. Today is different from the past. After a year of nutrient absorption and practice, the terrifying body of Tien and Tyrant has completely awakened. He is now a first-level Jujutsu master on the same level as Fushiguro Shiji. This is not a self-proclaimed rating, but a rating given to him by the Jujutsu master to warn him of the danger level of Luo Cheng. In fact, there are not many Jujutsu experts who rate Luo Cheng. When he defeated the first-level magician Mei Mei a year ago, the Jujutsu masters knew exactly how dangerous he was. Even if you said that Luo Cheng was a special-level magician, they would not doubt it. But obviously, it is very difficult to become a super magician. There are very strict screenings, such as the association's rating of Monster Man in One Punch Man. A monster is a monster whose destructive power reaches a certain level, and the same goes for Jujutsu masters. There is only one special-level Jujutsu master in Japan today, Yuki Kuju. To put it bluntly, Luo Cheng is very strong. The second day. Luo Cheng woke up from his sleep, full of energy and energy reaching its peak. He was already ready for war, but Kong Shiyu's text message told him. Gojo Satoru and his party still did not choose to return to Tokyo and continued to play in Okinawa. Are you waiting for the bounty order to disappear? Never mind. No matter what Gojo Satoru does now, Luo Cheng will not be surprised. This is a guy who is extremely willful and arrogant. It is also a common problem among geniuses. He is confident to the point of arrogance. It wasn't until 1 o'clock in the afternoon that Kong Shiyu called to inform them that Gojo Satoru and his party had boarded the flight. Judging from the time, the other party's plan was indeed to delay until the reward order disappeared. Because it takes about 2 hours to return to Tokyo from Okinawa. The limited time bounty issued by Kong Shiyu on the black market ends at 3 p.m. If you don't wait until the time is up, you will not get any reward even if you complete the bounty task after the time limit. Therefore, when Gojo Satoru and others get off the plane, they will almost not be attacked by curse user. A smart idiot. This is what Luo Cheng thinks about Gojo Satoru. He has a smart mind but acts like an idiot. Anyway, he is not a person who can be treated with common sense. I see. Luo Cheng hung up the phone and called Fuhaishir again. Then take action. Fuhaishir's words were concise, but filled with overwhelming murderous intent. The value of his existence will be proven today. A blink of an eye. 3 p.m. Gojo Satoru and his team got off the plane and went straight to Jujutsu High School's Juxing Palace. There was no one accompanying them. In order to prevent leaks and whereabouts from happening again, the Jujutsu division sent in advance to guard the airport disappeared after Gojo Satoru and the others landed. Death Star Palace. Located at the deepest part of the barrier of Jujutsu High School, the location is extremely secret. Very few people who come to the high school on weekdays enter, making it even more difficult for outsiders to determine its location. It's up there. After Gojo Satoru brought the person to the high school, his heavy heart couldn't help but begin to relax, and the tense nerves quietly loosened their knots. This is Jujutsu High School, where Master Tengen lives. Inner Riko looked forward and saw a road paved with stone bricks, extending from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain. On both sides of the road, there are countless barriers. Even a fly will be noticed immediately as long as it has the power of the spell. They walked up, and the process was no easier than climbing a mountain. It took a long time to walk this way. Riko Tenuki was an ordinary person with poor physical strength. When she climbed up, she was sweating profusely and panting. But, we're here, thank you for your hard work, everyone. Shayuji smiled and spoke, and Tenai Riko didn't know whether to be happy or sad. The full moon not long after was the moment when she and Tianyuan were assimilated. From then on, there was no more Riko Tenuki in the world. She even couldn't help but think, should she climb the mountain road just now again? It's not because she wants to climb, it's just because she is still attached to this world. I don't want to be a babysitter anymore. After arriving at the destination, Gojo Satoru breathed a sigh of relief and complained impatiently. It sounds like you are older than me. PFF'd. Riko was used to bickering with Gojo Satoru, but before she could finish her words, she turned around and saw a sharp blade piercing Gojo Satoru's body. The sharp blade was covered with Gojo Satoru's blood. Her pupils subconsciously widened, showing a look of horror, and she shouted loudly, Gojo. Chapter 42, Big Collision. This is it. Jujutsu High School is built in the mountains and is surrounded by trees. It is an excellent hiding place. Fuhaishir brought Luo Cheng here. Gojo boys, are they here? Ah, based on the flight information provided by Kong Shiu, we can infer the distance from the airport to Jujutsu High School. Even if there is a traffic jam on the way, they have already arrived at the high school. Where to start looking? I can't say for sure. Fuhaishir put his hands on his hips and had a rough smile on his lips. Having said that, he actually already has a rough position in his mind. Jujutsu High School is very big, a whole mountain. But precisely because it is so big, in order to prevent getting lost, many areas were planned out when it was first built, each with their own duties. That side is the school, including the dormitory building. The other side is where the high-level officials hold meetings. The last one is the Palace of the Dead. Where do you think it will be? In other words, is it this direction? Luo Cheng followed Fuhaishir's line of sight, raised his feet and walked towards the top of the mountain. The Star Palace is located in the deepest boundary of the college, either on the mountainside or on the top of the mountain. The two of them walked up and soon found imperceptible footprints. There are 4 pairs in total, which just fits Gojo Satoru and his party of 4. Found it, do you want me to come with you? No, I want to kill people, and I also want to make money. Which astral body are you going to deal with? The powerful enemy was right in front of him, and Fuhaishir's blood couldn't help but start to boil. Hearing this, Luo Cheng remained silent and did not go up the stairs, choosing a more secretive mountain road. Fuhaishir walked straight up. The closer he got to the target, the more his blood boiled, but the amazing thing was that no matter how hot the blood in his body was, his brain was sober as never before. He walked upward bit by bit, making no sound every time his feet stepped on the ground, just like a hunter, afraid of disturbing his prey. Closer. He could already hear several people talking. I will never babysit for a child again. This was Gojo Satoru's voice full of disgust. It's now. Fushikiji, who had been lurking forward, tensed up his muscles at this moment, and when Gojo Satoru released the technique, he rushed forward without reservation. PFF'd. At the moment when the target was relaxed, he launched a thunderous blow and penetrated Gojo Satoru's body with the knife in his hand. It all happened so fast, like a sunny day, and suddenly there was lightning and thunder. Everyone present, except Fuhei Shir, was not prepared, and all their eyes widened. How is it possible? This is inside the barrier of the high school. Sha Yuji was shocked. He didn't expect that in the place they thought was the safest, they would suffer the most deadly attack. Have I seen you somewhere? Gojo Satoru turned around in surprise, still thinking about looking at Fushiki Shir. Don't worry, I'm just like you and can't remember a man's name. ***. Before Gojo Satoru made a move, Sha Yuji over there waved his hand, and a cursed spirit of unknown rank appeared out of thin air, bit forward, and swallowed Fushi Shir whole in the blink of an eye. Enlightenment. Sha Yuji succeeded with one blow and immediately ran towards his companions, but was stopped. No problem. Although the spell didn't have time to activate, at least it avoided the internal organs. Then I used the magic power to strengthen it and the blade didn't hurt anywhere. It's like putting a pin through a knitted sweater, no problem at all. Don't worry about me. Take good care of Tiane first. Leave this guy to me. You go to Master Tianyuan first. Gojo Satoru stretches his muscles and faces powerful enemies alone. Even though there was just a hole in his chest, he was still confident that he would not lose to anyone, and urged his companions to take good care of Riko Tenuki. Hearing this, Sha Yuji turned to look at the frightened Tenai Riko and the other two, and after telling them to be careful, he led Tenuki Riko towards the location of the Hoshihoshi Palace. Phew. Almost at the same time, Fuhei Shir broke through Sha Yuji's curse with a knife and burst out of the belly of the curse, holding a soul-releasing knife. His whole body was covered in the blood of the cursed spirit, as if he had been showered with it. That magician is gone. I wonder if that guy Luo Cheng has sneaked in. Fushikiji glanced around, and finally fell on Gojo Satoru in front of him. For him, the best result was not finding Luo Cheng, which meant that he had not been discovered. The astral body is not here. I still wanted to kill you with that knife just now, but my skills have deteriorated. No one believes what you say. Gojo Satoru's face was serious. Fuhei Shir reappeared, with a cursed spirit appearing on his body at some point, and the ordinary short sword in his hand was replaced by a soul-releasing sword that was not simple at first sight. The most important thing is that the invisible sense of oppression is completely different from the curse user I encountered before. But thinking so, he said something else. Idiot, Tiane's reward has been cancelled. Now even if you kill Tiane, you won't get the reward. I cancelled that myself, you smart kid. Since you don't take the initiative to expose your flaws, of course I can only set up several false ending points for you in different ways. If I hadn't set a time limit for the bounty, you would have maintained the technique until the end. It was calculated. Gojo Satoru was not angry. He raised one hand and the Gojo clan's inherited technique suddenly exploded. Fushiguro's location was instantly shattered. Of course, Fushiguro was fine and moved to the other side the moment Gojo Satoru made his move. So fast? No, I thought this person was weird from the beginning. He has no fluctuations in spell power at all. He is a humanoid monster from heavenly restriction. Six Eyes' strong observation skills are perfectly reflected in this moment. After just one encounter, Gojo Satoru could tell that Fushikiji was different. There is no magic power at all, nor is he a magician, just the power of the body. But even with heavenly restriction, such mobility is too unreasonable. Fushiguro Shiji changed into Teniboho and disappeared into the air in the next second. The power of the spell cannot be grasped, and the intuition cannot keep up with the rhythm. Even Six Eyes can only see a blurry scene. But that's enough. Fuhei Shir jumps between the forests like a spiritual snake. Its speed is so fast that even Six Eyes has trouble catching it. Sometimes on the left, sometimes on the right, sometimes in front, sometimes behind, like a thunderbolt from the sky, approaching its extreme. But after all, it was not traceable. The cursed spirit on the opponent gave Gojo Satoru a chance. He raised his hand again and pushed forward. There was only a rumbling sound, and the infinite magician swept forward with the buzz of the cursed spirit. The ground was blasted open, hitting Fuhei Shir, sending him flying nearly 100 meters and crashing through numerous high school buildings. Chapter 43. Beat me to death, or be beaten to death by me. At the same time, On the other side, Sha Yuji led Tenuki Riko into the Xingxing Palace and all the way down. The enemy that just appeared made people feel very bad, and they couldn't even see through the internal barrier of the high school. There was also an unspeakable sense of oppression. The other party was different from the other fish they had encountered before, and was much stronger. The key is that Gojo Satoru's condition is quite poor. He has not stopped operating the technique for 2 days and cannot get enough rest. It's too bad to encounter such an enemy in such a situation. Thinking of this, he no longer planned to move forward, and wanted to determine in advance the truest thoughts in Riko Tenuki's heart. Riko. Sha Yuji stopped and looked at Riko Tenuki very seriously. What's wrong? Ahead is the main hall of the Star Palace. After passing through this door, you will see a staircase. If you follow it, you will reach the root of a big tree. There is a special barrier that is completely different from the high school barrier. Only those who are invited can enter. There, Master Tianyuan will protect you until the assimilation is completed. Certainly. Certainly. In the day, Riko raised her head and looked into Sha Yuji's eyes. You can choose to turn back now and go home with Miss Kuroi. Ah. After hearing this, Riko's eyes flashed with astonishment and unbelievable expectations. When our teacher handed over the task to us, he deliberately referred to assimilation as erasure, hoping to make us feel a strong sense of guilt about this matter. Although our teacher looks like an old fool, he turns out to be surprisingly smart, but he likes to beat around the bush. Riko didn't speak within the day and listened quietly, her eyes starting to sour, as if she had already guessed what Sha Yuji was going to say next. I discussed it with Satoru when we came here. If you refuse to assimilate, then you won't be able to assimilate. As expected, what Sha Yuji said confirmed her suspicion. Even though she was prepared, when the other party actually said it, her tears still remained unsatisfied. I want to live, I don't want to die like this, I want to create many beautiful memories with Heijing, including Sha Yuji and the white-haired cat. But, it does not matter. Seemingly ignoring her concerns, a confident smile broke out on Sha Yuji's face. He said to Riko Tenuki, we are the strongest. In an instant, Riko Tenai burst into tears. She wanted to live, she had always wanted to live, but after her parents died, too many people told her that assimilating with Tianyuan would make the world a better place, and that assimilating with Tianyuan was a great righteousness and an honor. She didn't deny it because no one had ever given her another option. But today, Sha Yuji and Gojo Satoru gave her a choice to assimilate with Tianyuan. For so many years, Tenai Riko has been waiting for someone to say such words to herself. I want to live. She cried and said these 5 words with all her strength. When Sha Yuji saw her, his heart softened along with her tears. He stretched out his hand to invite her and said softly, let's go back together. Hi. She wiped away her tears, nodded heavily, and stretched out her hand to grab Sha Yuji, but she only felt weak. Not yet. Indifferent words suddenly rang in his ears, and Sha Yuji's expression froze. Under his gaze, a humanoid cursed spirit appeared behind Riko Tenuki at some point. It was mainly red and had 4 eyes in total. No, it doesn't have 4 eyes, but it has 2 faces, the other one is embedded in the forehead. His whole body was surrounded by red energy like lava, which was terrifying and oppressive. What's even weirder is that the other party can speak human words. Cursed spirit. How did you sneak in here? Is there something wrong with the internal enchantment? Forget about Fuhashir, why has cursed spirit sneaked into the high school now? Let go of Lizzie, what do you want to do? Sha Yuji stood ready. The Crimson King's response was, I'll beat you to death, or you'll beat me to death. Crazy, why is there such a cursed spirit in this world? What will happen to Riko? Who knows, it depends on your ability. The Red King waved his sword and knocked Tenuki Riko unconscious, but did not kill her. The other party's belief in living was very strong. In this case, Luo Cheng chose to give the other party a chance. If she lost this battle, she could have tomorrow. If I lose, Riko will die, right? Cursed spirit. Sha Yuji immediately put on a fighting stance. There was a roar, and at this moment, the shock of the external battle was transmitted into the interior of the Star Palace. It has already started, so I will speed up the action. The same voice sounded again, but this time it came not from the direction of the Red King, but from the other side. Is there anyone else? Sha Yuji felt cold all over. He had already released the magic induction. It's here. Phew. Luo Cheng's figure hidden in the darkness was like a ghost, appearing beside Sha Yuji without any warning. I can't sense anything, whether it's my own sensory system or the induction of the magic power, I can't see it at all. It was as if it appeared out of thin air, and it was so close that I could only instinctively use the power of the spell to resist. Boom. Luo Cheng swept out the whip leg, which was as heavy as a stone, and hit Sha Yuji, ruthlessly whipping him away and crashing into the main hall of Xingxing Palace. He continued to pursue, and his body rushed out like lightning, not giving the opponent a chance to breathe. In the blink of an eye, he crossed the long passage and entered the main hall of the Xingxing Palace to pursue Sha Yuji. Sha Yuji waved his hands, and two black whirlpools appeared beside him, followed by a roar, rainbow dragon. A giant white dragon rushed out of the whirlpool and crashed into Luo Cheng. Then a divine dragon swung its tail and whipped Luo Cheng into the sky. The size of this rainbow dragon is very large, like a large passenger plane, and it is so powerful that it can easily pull Luo Cheng, the sky and the Tyrant, dozens of meters into the sky. Sha Yuji didn't give up and urged Honglong to attack from the air, leaving no room for the enemy to be killed. Such a body shape, such a sense of oppression, it's a first-level cursed spirit. Sure enough, those curse users didn't force him to use his full strength. Luo Cheng looked at the Honglong that was attacking at high speed. He didn't panic. Instead, he had expected it. As soon as the thought came to his mind, the Tianyu sword popped out of the ring in his hand. He held it with his hand and swung the sword with all his strength against the surging rainbow dragon. Bang! A tenfold increase occurred, and Luo Cheng slashed the dragon's head with a knife, causing it to scream and fall like a comet, destroying countless buildings in the palace. The Star Palace is really huge. In the center is the root of a huge tree in the sky. The surrounding area is like a football stadium. Countless houses have been built. Calculating with the naked eye, it is estimated that it can accommodate more than 100,000 people. Luo Cheng landed, and the Crimson King appeared in front of him at the right time, like the most loyal guard. FK the Psychic. How did you end up here? Sha Yuji became even more suspicious that there was something wrong with the barrier within the college. However, this is the barrier that Tianyuan is responsible for, and assimilating the astral plasma is his request, so it doesn't make sense at all, and there can be no problems with the barrier. A cursed spirit. Luo Cheng held a sword in one hand and looked down at Sha Yuji. Don't get me wrong, the Crimson King is not a cursed spirit. Chapter 44, Curse User a year ago. Don't get me wrong, the Crimson King is different from those ugly monsters in your body. It is the embodiment of my will. What else could it be if it wasn't cursed spirit? Sha Yuji was on full alert, his expression serious. Rainbow Dragon is the hardest and largest cursed spirit among all his cursed spirits, bar none. But what happened just now? Luo Cheng only used one blow to send the Rainbow Dragon flying away. The exaggerated power was simply incredible, like a Tyrannosaurus wearing human skin. You're wondering why we were able to infiltrate here, right? It's very simple. The Xingxing Palace and Jiku are hidden barriers. Even people with higher education may not know the exact location of the Xingxing Palace. Therefore, there will be no guards at the entrance. As long as you know the location of the barrier, you can follow the entrance and exit. It's as simple as your own back garden. How did you escape the detection of the inner barrier? This is the question Sha Yuji wants to know most. If Curse User masters the method of ignoring the barrier, he can come and go freely. Then in the future, all Jujutsu Division strongholds will no longer be safe and may be attacked at any time. I know what you're worried about, and that's what I'm going to say next. Heavenly restriction. You should know very well that the geniuses of Jujutsu High School are all humans who are born without Jujutsu talent. In return, every heavenly restrictioner has a strong physique that ordinary people, including Jujutsu masters, do not have. And I am the owner of Heavenly Restriction, a person with absolutely zero spell power. In return for not having the potential to become a magician, I have gained a super strong body and 5 senses. You should have tried to use the magic power to sense my position just now, so you should know that the perception of the magic power is not effective on me, and naturally the barrier of the high school will not work on me. Of course, although I don't have curse power, the curse tool on my body contains curse power. Although it is very small, it is still easy to be discovered due to the enchantment inside the high school, so I stored the weapon in the ring, hit it, then swallow it in your mouth, and use the special body of my god and tyrant to shield the spell, so that you can avoid being discovered by the barrier. The technique is made public. What kind of publicity is this? Stop joking, you think I'm a 3-year-old child. With that level of cursed spirit, how can you be a heavenly restriction? Sha Yuji didn't believe it at all and regarded Luo Cheng's technique as a publicity stunt. Didn't I tell you, Crimson King, not cursed spirit? Nonsense. You don't even dare to admit your identity as a magician. For a guy like you, it's better to die as soon as possible. He didn't want to delay any longer, it was a waste of time, and false information would only affect his judgment. So, you Jujutsu masters are too arrogant. Rumble. There was a sudden tremor in the Xingxing Palace, as the Honglong commanded by Sha Yuji launched a fierce attack. It spiraled up from the lowest level of the main hall, soared up, and came menacingly, directly taking Luo Cheng's life. Luo Cheng raised his sword to resist. The special nature of Tianyu sword allowed him to remain unharmed even if he encountered such a violent impact. It's just that the whole person was once again hit by the rainbow dragon and hit the top of the main hall of the Xingxing Palace. Sha Yuji Underground did not give up, his eyes were locked on Luo Cheng. Almost at the same time, he waved his hand again, and countless black vortexes emerged from his side, and then countless cursed spirits spewed out from them, carrying out suicide bombardments. The dense attacks, from bottom to top, were like energy barrages, lighting up the entire Xingxing Palace. Luo Cheng was not afraid, and split the rainbow dragon with one sword. Holding the sword in one hand, he faced countless cursed spirits that were coming at a rapid speed, and he quickly swung the Tianyu sword. Puff 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 puff. He is very fast and can swing his knife even faster. With a sword in one hand, just by waving it, a net drawn by sword light is formed around the body. Sha Yuji's cursed spirit attack couldn't get close to him, and all of them were cut open, turning into pieces of blood mist falling down. But this is not the end, but only the beginning. Before the suicidal cursed spirit could be dealt with, the rainbow dragon crashed through the house again and quickly bit into it. Its bloody mouth was enough to swallow a tank. This cursed spirit is very extraordinary. It is at least a first-level cursed spirit. Its body is the hardest that Luo Cheng has ever seen so far. It has been whipped away by the Tianyu sword several times, but its body is intact. Thinking of this, Luo Cheng looked directly at the surging rainbow dragon, and the ring in his hand glowed faintly. The next second, a huge two-handed axe appeared in his left hand. At the same time, those suicidal cursed spirits came again. Luo Cheng did not kill him, but used his Tianyu sword to block it, and with the help of the impact of the cursed spirit, he allowed his body to change its position in the air. Then, he grabbed the huge two-handed axe with one hand and slashed hard on Honglong's head like agarwood splitting a mountain to save his mother. Ouch! Honglong let out a cry, and purple blood splashed in the air, spreading to the ground, polluting the Xingxing Palace. At the same time, a dragon horn fell down, and the rainbow dragon, the hardest one, was finally injured and had one of its horns cut off. That's Miss Ming's cursed tool. Sha Yuji's eyes bulged, and he immediately recognized that it was Mei Mei's famous cursed tool. It's my cursed tool. Luo Cheng's tone was unmistakable. I see, you are the curse user who defeated Mei Mei a year ago. That was a year ago, but it was one of the biggest stories in the Jujutsu world in recent years. Mei Mei, a well-known first-level magician, was defeated by an unknown curse user who was 16 or 17 years old, and almost lost her life. At that time, he, Gojo Satoru and others were shocked by the news. Unexpectedly, this monster that had the combat power of a first-level magician a year ago appeared in front of him, and he met him during the mission. Talk about it. Have we met before? He felt a sense of familiarity when he looked at Luo Cheng, as if he had seen him before. Those eyes were so special, and they seemed to hide a story while being sharp. Maybe, but I don't have the habit of remembering men. Luo Cheng fell from the air, holding a sword in one hand and an axe in the other. His posture was tall and slender, like a berserk warrior, exuding strong oppressive power. The same answer as the curse user out there. That battle a year ago was the battle that made Luo Cheng famous, which allowed his information to enter the Jujutsu Division group for the first time. At that time, there were rumors that Luo Cheng had a close relationship with the famous warlock killer Fu Haixir. Now it seems that this is not a rumor, but a fact. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 45, Suppression. Boom. The huge movement in the Xingxing Palace could not be concealed from the two people fighting outside the palace. One is a genius jujutsu master who has the potential to become the most powerful jujutsu master of our time. On the other side is Heavenly Restriction, which is rare in history and has absolutely zero mana power. It can be said to be the strongest Heavenly Restriction in history. Almost as soon as the battle broke out between Luo Cheng and Sha Yuji, they sensed something had happened in the Xingxing Palace. Hey, are you okay? You seem to have been beaten first. Gojo Satoru no longer dared to look down on his opponent at this time. His ridiculously strong physique was so rare that even 6 eyes could barely see a shadow. Save your strength, those are my people. Fushiguro didn't care, glanced at the entrance, and said calmly, no one stipulates that only you jujutsu masters can form groups. What kind of joke is this? A guy like you will partner with other people. Gojo Satoru seemed to have heard something funny. Besides, do you think everyone is you? My companion Jia, he is very strong. Ah, which spiritualist are you talking about? Fuhashir was silent for a moment, then suddenly grinned, there is no way he can defeat Luo Cheng. In a way, that kid has surpassed me. Luo Cheng. Which one defeated Mei Mei's curse user a year ago? Gojo Satoru is familiar with this name because he was the first curse user to make that woman Mei Mei deflate. Ordinary curse users, when they meet Mei Mei, they all feel miserable. Even being killed is considered easy. Before finishing the opponent, Mei Mei will always squeeze out all the money that the opponent has exchanged for his life, leaving not a single penny left. Which woman's love for money has reached a crazy level. But such a strong woman was defeated by a curse user of their own age a year ago and was almost killed. When he went to visit, Mei Mei told them to be careful when meeting Luo Cheng. This made the arrogant Gojo Satoru remember Luo Cheng. If the person who attacked them with Fuhashir today is the Luo Cheng mentioned by Mei Mei, then the situation in the Xingxing Palace may not be optimistic. Almost at the same time. The battle in the Xingxing Palace has entered a fever pitch. Luo Cheng holds a sword in one hand and an axe in the other, charging like a mad warrior. Even though there were countless cursed spirits recovered in Sha Yuji's body, they could not stop Luo Cheng's edge. Just like the cursed spirit that was recovered after swallowing a curtain covered with vomit, it was chopped off by Luo Cheng one after another. After a while, the palace of the dead star was contaminated by the blood of the cursed spirit, and many of them didn't even have time to turn into powder and dissipate in the air. Compared to simulation, it's so far behind. Luo Cheng waved his hands one after another, opening and closing, with invincible bravery. Every swing could almost cut off a cursed spirit that left mortals helpless. The blood of the cursed spirit soaked his whole body, but he seemed to be watching, like a Shura, constantly jumping and slashing in the main hall of the Star Palace, playing a waltz of death. However, the opponent's cursed spirit is really too many, seemingly endless. Before the battle began, he had killed more than 100 cursed spirits. Still can't see Sha Yuji's cursed spirit reserves bottoming out. It was completely different from the simulated battle in my mind. Compared to him, Sha Yuji was even more frightened. The curse user in front of me is too brave. Facing the overwhelming army of cursed spirits, he is like a tiger rushing into a flock of sheep. He can take away a piece of cursed spirit with every wave of his hand. He has sufficient reserves of cursed spirit, which he has been storing since the awakening spell. After so many years, the number of cursed spirits in his body now exceeds 1,000. But according to Luo Cheng's extermination speed, 1,000 cursed spirits are not enough to kill the opponent. Catch the thief first and capture the king first. Luo Cheng doesn't want to waste any more time. This is Jujutsu High School and the territory of Jujutsu Masters. If it is delayed for too long, it will be too detrimental to them. He tapped his toes, and the blessing after the technique was revealed made his already extremely fast speed even higher. Luo Cheng charged forward without hesitation, leaving behind him dozens of meters of smoke and dust thrown up by his excessive speed. Sha Yuji saw this and quickly put on a defensive stance, but Luo Cheng disappeared in front of him again. When he was about to reach Sha Yuji, his figure flashed and he came ghostly behind his opponent. He raised his long sword and was about to strike with a thunderous blow. The weakness of the spiritual magician is the magician himself. Do you think I don't know what you are thinking? Sha Yuji was waiting for this opportunity. Compared with other curse users, his close combat skills are not bad and are enough to deal with most curse users. But it didn't work when facing Luo Cheng. The opponent was too strong. It was the best physical monster he had ever seen. Even the rainbow dragon was knocked away countless times. There was another loud bang, and a giant ape-shaped cursed spirit burst out from below, waving its fist as big as a house, and ruthlessly knocked Luo Cheng away again. Roar! Honglong followed closely, swooping down from the sky, and pounced on Luo Cheng, who had his back turned to him. The severed horn could not be recovered for a long time. Jujutsu masters are troublesome guys. In this situation, facing this turbulent offensive like a wave, Sha Yuji saw Luo Cheng let go of his left hand. Give up resistance. It was absolutely impossible. There was no trace of panic in the other party's eyes, and he was frighteningly calm. As Sha Yuji expected, the moment Luo Cheng let go of the giant axe, the Crimson King came out from behind him, exuding red magma. If I really wanted to find a metaphor, it would be the golden energy of a Super Saiyan. But that's not the point. The moment the Crimson King appeared, he grabbed the giant axe with both hands and aimed at the rainbow dragon's neck and slashed it. Puff! Terrifying blood spurted out. Even the hardest rainbow dragon could not withstand the blow, and the dragon's head was separated from its huge body. Cutting steel axe. The special grade cursed tool has the characteristic of cutting. It is said that there is nothing in the world that it can cut endlessly, and the wounds of people and objects cut by the steel cutting axe are more difficult to recover than any attack. Because it was Mei Mei's cursed tool during the battle, Sha Yuji was very aware of the prestige of this weapon. Roar! The rainbow dragon let out an unwilling dragon roar and stared at the Crimson King, not wanting to lower its proud dragon head. But it was useless, its body was already dissipating rapidly. Because it is a cursed spirit, it is born from the negative energy of human beings. After death, the energy dissipates and disappears into this world like wind and sand. The Crimson King disappeared into the air, but immediately appeared from Luo Cheng's side like a guard. Luo Cheng raised his left hand, caught the steel cutting axe that fell out of control, and said coldly, "One end has been solved." Chapter 46, Simple Area. One end has been solved. Luo Cheng faced Sha Yuji face to face, holding a sword in one hand and an axe in the other. An invincible spirit was accumulating and taking shape. Behind him was a huge dragon corpse that had not completely dissipated. Sha Yuji looked at the person in front of him with a heavy heart. Rainbow Dragon is one of the most powerful cursed spirits he has on hand at this stage. It is not a special level, but a first-level cursed spirit that is difficult for ordinary jujutsu masters to parry. It can be said that it was difficult to absorb the Rainbow Dragon at first, but Luo Cheng showed that he was able to do it with ease. Even if he is not a super magician, he is very close. Although he is about the same age as himself, he has an invincible power about him. He had never experienced such a situation even when facing Gojo Satoru. Of course, he does not think that Luo Cheng is better than Gojo Satoru, because he and the latter are the best friends. They learn from each other without murderous intent. They communicate and make progress with each other. Luo Cheng, on the other hand, has never concealed his murderous aura, which is like a dark cloud covering the sun, making people feel great pressure. Bump! Luo Cheng jumped up and smashed the giant axe into the floor of the Xingxing Palace mercilessly. The place exploded to pieces, as if it was made of tofu instead of huge rocks. Sha Yuji jumped out of the way, raised one hand, and the demonic ape burst out of the ground again. Such a move is useless to me. King Crimson. Luo Cheng secretly shouted, and the Crimson King appeared again. Although the demon ape's fists were big and heavy, they were far less sensitive than the Red King. The moment the opponent's fist was raised, the Red King's fists were all unleashed on the demon ape like a violent storm. Bang 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 bang. The Crimson King let out a war cry of unknown meaning, hitting the demon ape that was more than 10 times bigger than it. It kept retreating, and finally fell down, smashing a large number of houses. Almost at the same time, Luo Cheng stepped forward with his Tianyu sword and steel-cutting axe in hand, keeping his focus in front and not running wildly, and quickly approached Sha Yuji. Too fast. The opponent's movement speed is incredibly fast. This is not the physique that a magician should have at all. Even with the blessing of spell power, it is difficult to push the speed to this point. He began to believe that Luo Cheng was not just messing around, but that the other party might really be a heavenly restrictor. But what is that cursed spirit that can defeat even the first-level cursed spirit demon ape? A manifestation of will. He recalled Luo Cheng's words just now, which cursed spirit he said was the embodiment of his will. At first, he only thought that the other party was lying and used false information to obscure his judgment. Thinking about it now, this is most likely the reward heavenly restriction gave him. Strengthen his mental power to the limit, reaching the point where it can be realized. It's incredible, but not impossible. Because there are so few heavenly restrictions, there are not many examples in the long history of the Jujutsu world, especially absolute zero mana power, which is rare in history, and only Fushikiji has one. The Luo Cheng in front of me is the second one. In this case, it makes sense. In this case, then destroy his spiritual manifestation. Sha Yuji stopped retreating, and with one move, the defeated demon ape broke out of the ground again. The ability to sneak freely underground. It reminds me of a certain stand-in ability. Luo Cheng showed no fear and swung the Tianyu sword to strike at the opponent's fist, choosing to fight head-on without fear. There was a loud, bang, sound, and as the fists and swords collided, violent fluctuations erupted from the middle, sweeping in all directions, shaking the Xingxing Palace. The demon ape's punch did not cause any damage to Luo Cheng. Instead, Luo Cheng struck him in the head with a steel axe. PFF'd. Blood splattered everywhere, and the majestic first-level cursed spirit demon ape was split into two pieces by Luo Cheng, dying beyond hope. The second one. While speaking, Luo Cheng had already drawn his battle axe and stepped forward again to launch a killing blow. Stronger than me. Sha Yuji is the most outstanding student in Jujutsu High School in recent years. Even if we look at the history of Jujutsu High School, he is still among the best, second only to unique monsters like Gojo Satoru. But today, he encountered an opponent that he felt was difficult to defeat. Thanks to Master Tianyin's foresight, he specified that he and Wu should be escorted. Otherwise, if other magicians come, they will most likely be killed here. But he doesn't have no chance at all. Luo Cheng's trend is gone, and his indomitable posture makes people feel domineering. Beside him, the Crimson King followed closely, approaching Sha Yuji with cold murderous intent. In just one breath, Luo Cheng was in front of his opponent. There is nothing to say, since we are enemies, either I die or he dies. But at this moment, Luo Cheng's hand wielding the knife suddenly froze in midair, unable to move. Buzz. With a buzz of spell power, the world in front of Luo Cheng changed, as if he was dragged into another dimension. The surroundings became extremely gray, and there was no concept of time, as if it had stopped. But the amazing thing is that besides attacking, he can move around at will and observe his surroundings. This is the realm. No, the ancient book of the Zenin family records all the information about domain expansion. It shouldn't be so simple. Domain expansion. One of the most powerful moves in the world of Jujutsu. Whether they are cursed spirit or Jujutsu masters, those who have mastered domain expansion have almost all reached the level of a master magician. Because domain expansion is too powerful, it can create an independent space out of thin air. In this field, the caster will appear as if he is invincible, and any attack will have a sure hit effect. It's hard to explain exactly how, because every magician's domain expansion is different. It's a simple domain. Luo Cheng initially felt the horror of domain expansion. As he is now, he is restricted by a rule, unable to kill, and is forced to interrupt. He looked up and saw a humanoid monster. The appearance is very scary, as if he walked out of a maze in a horror movie. His hair is disheveled, wrapped in bandages, and his whole body exudes a sense of gloom. It is one of the first three-headed first-level cursed spirits to appear. Luo Cheng noticed when the battle started that Sha Yuji released three cursed spirits immediately. The first one was the rainbow dragon, and the second one was the demon ape. Although he chose to hide it as soon as he appeared, Luo Cheng still discovered it. The third and final one is the humanoid cursed spirit in front of us. Hey, am I beautiful? It was trembling all over, as if it was suppressing something, or trembling with excitement, and finally opened a mouth full of fishy smell. Mouth. The Rift Girl. Luo Cheng didn't need to know more about it. The cursed spirit in front of him was too famous. It was the classic monster in Japanese ghost stories. Some gentlemen even published a fan version of it, making it one of Japan's most classic ghost stories. The fictional cursed spirit is so weird. The so-called fictional cursed spirit is the cursed spirit born in fictional stories, born from human fear. Forced me to terminate the attack. Judging from this, the effect of this field is that neither party is allowed to attack each other before answering the question. After the analysis, Luo Cheng pointed to the mirror not far away and said, "There is a mirror somewhere. If you want to know what you look like, go and look at it. By the way, remember to be careful before looking in the mirror. Don't be scared to death by your own appearance." Ah! The slit girl let out a heartbreaking roar, and then countless pairs of scissors emitting cold light appeared in the entire simple area. Are you crying because you're ugly? You miserable guy. Chapter 47, The End. The space vibrated, and with the roar of the cracked girl, the area where Luo Cheng was located was shaking. Are you crying because you are ugly? What a pathetic guy. Luo Cheng's expression remained unchanged, his calmness was frightening, and he still had the heart to laugh at the enemy. Phew. As soon as he finished speaking, his face was scratched, and bright red blood flowed down his sharp-edged face. Luo Cheng looked around without wiping, and at some point, this area was filled with countless sharp scissors, each one of which could easily cut open the sky and the tyrant's body. I don't have much beard, so I don't need such scissors to shave it. Roar. As if angered by his words, the slit girl opened her mouth wide and let out a deafening roar. Immediately afterwards, all the scissors in the sky turned around and hissed overwhelmingly towards Luo Cheng, trying to cut him into pieces of meat. Luo Cheng didn't frown and gently called the Red King's name. The next second, the Crimson King came behind him through his body, and struck out with both fists at the same time, knocking away all the scissors that came quickly. It was also at this time that the Tianyu sword in Luo Cheng's hand swept out, sweeping away all the scissors in front of him. Then he took a step across dozens of meters and came to the gaping girl. He held the steel cutting axe in his other hand and swung it hard. The slit woman instinctively raised the scissors to resist. If you look this ugly in the next life, then don't come out to scare people. Click. A serene tone and a domineering blow. The scissors of the rift girl were unable to withstand the unparalleled cutting effect of the steel cutting axe. After just one collision, it was cut into two ends. The cracked woman let out a shrill roar, and like the demonic ape, she was cut into two pieces and quickly dissipated. The last one. All three first-level cursed spirits were eliminated, and the remaining Sha Yuji was naturally nothing to be afraid of. As soon as the rift girl died, the simple realm shattered and dissipated into pieces. Luo Cheng wants Chen Sheng to pursue him and kill Sha Yuji in one go. Unexpectedly, the opponent advanced instead of retreating, and at the moment when the simple field was broken, he came in front of him, or rather in front of the Red King. You said it, right. This cursed spirit is the embodiment of your will. What will happen to you if you are exorcised by me? Sha Yuji, dark and cold, took advantage of the moment when Luo Cheng eliminated his last trump card, cursed spirit, to get close. He raised his hands high, and the magic power in his body boiled completely at this moment, gathering in the palms of his hands at an extremely fast speed. It is his ultimate skill in the future, or it can be said to be the secret of his technique, Whirlpool. However, compared with the vortex more than 10 years later, the vortex gathered by Sha Yuji at this time is much weaker. Because he did not fully master the operation of this technique. Fusing 20 level 2 cursed spirits is my current limit. Even if I'm not careful, I might even risk my own life. But, even if it means death, I won't allow you to kill Rico. Go to hell, curse user. With a shout, Sha Yuji waved both hands towards the Crimson King. The incomplete version of the vortex swept out in the next second. This blow is very powerful. It gathers all the magical power of 22nd level cursed spirits and compresses it to the extreme before detonating. The power is naturally extraordinary. But Luo Cheng's expression remained unchanged despite Sha Yuji's all-out blow. The picture I saw was not that the Crimson King was defeated. Luo Cheng rarely uses the Red King's only ability now, Epitaph, to predict the future. Because even if he observes the future, he cannot change the result without time deletion, so in the past year, even in battle, he rarely used epitaphs to predict the future. What can we do if we see the result that cannot be changed? It's better not to watch. But just now, when he encountered a simple attack for the first time, his fighting instinct made him activate the ability of epitaph. In the future I saw, you were pierced by multiple flying knives. Future. Nonsense. At this point, it's useless what you say. Just die obediently. Sha Yuji pretended not to hear anything. Instead of his usual gentleness, he showed a ferocious face and controlled the vortex to sweep forward. The future is destined, I'll let you see it. The future will not change, and what is established will definitely happen. In this case, Luo Cheng has no need to panic. Faced with a killing blow that contained the power of 20 level 2 cursed spirits, Luo Cheng charged forward without flinching. The steel cutting axe returned to the ring at some point. He held the sky sword with both hands and slashed toward the whirlpool, without reservation, just like a baseball player about to hit a home run. Madman. Even Sha Yuji, who wished Luo Cheng would die soon, was shocked by the madness of the other party when he saw his actions. It was a blow that concentrated all the cursory power of 20 cursed spirits. Once detonated, the consequences would be unimaginable even to him. I am afraid that even the Death Star Palace would collapse. Luo Cheng chose to fight head-on. You are the one who is seeking death. Sha Yuji stabilized his mind, concentrated on controlling the vortex, and killed without hesitation. Boom. A huge collision broke out, like two comets colliding. When Luo Cheng slashed at the vortex, the huge energy of the vortex also burst out at this moment. Violent fluctuations instantly spread around the main hall of the Star Palace, and countless buildings shattered like bubbles. What happened? With such a huge energy fluctuation, could someone attack Jujutsu High School? Which location is the direction of the Death Star Palace? The Palace of the Dead Stars. Oh no, it's an astral body. The collision was so violent that even people from Jujutsu High School were alarmed. Nanami Kento, Yaga-sensei. Grizzly Bear, who had just entered school, also felt this violent fluctuation, and glanced at his friend Nanami Kento and the teacher. Who is the lunatic who actually killed Jujutsu High School? Yaga Masamiki was not in the mood for class, you stay here and don't go anywhere. After saying that, he ran as fast as possible towards the depths of the high school's barrier, where the Star Palace was located. In the battlefield, Sha Yuji was also blown away by the wave. He has not fully mastered and used this move yet. This time he took the risk, but he was forced to do nothing by Luo Cheng. Even though he guessed that the whirlpool might involve him, and left a trace of spell power in advance for defense, when the energy detonated, he was still hit against the wall, his clothes were shattered, and he had no idea how many ribs were broken. Because he never thought that Luo Cheng would choose to clear his name and collide with the vortex, so that when the vortex detonated, it was too close to him. But, ahem, cough, cough, you should die, what guy? Sha Yuji tried his best to open his eyes, but he could only see large swaths of smoke and dust filling the Xingxing Palace. This blow directly destroyed 50% of the buildings in the Star Palace, leaving only the central part guarded by the barrier intact. A beautiful blow, but the future will not change. The outcome has already been determined. What? The smoke and dust had not cleared yet, but Luo Cheng's cold voice came out through the smoke. Sha Yuji knew that he was in big trouble. He put his hands on the ground and tried to stand up, but more than a dozen flying knives had already pierced the smoke and came to him, piercing his body in more than 10 places. Chapter 48, Punishing the Sky. Puff 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 puff. Blood splattered everywhere, just when Sha Yuji thought everything was over. Dozens of flying knives broke open, causing smoke and dust to shoot out, piercing more than a dozen holes in his body, causing him to bleed. Surprisingly, he's not dead yet. He tried to open his eyes and looked forward. But the smoke and dust were too big and too much, and he could only barely see Luo Cheng's black shadow, crouching on the ground. Obviously, his full blow successfully injured Luo Cheng, who had been unharmed, and was seriously injured. In fact, Luo Cheng was indeed injured, and seriously injured. The attack made by compressing all the cursory power of 22nd level cursed spirits to the extreme is extraordinary. Even if the Sky and the Tyrant have their own resistance to the erosion of the cursed power, they are not immune. At this moment, Luo Cheng's upper body clothes were all blown into powder, and there were large areas of scars on his body. Blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He could not stand firmly and could only squat on the ground. But the Crimson King was fine, and most of the whirlpool bombardments were resisted by him. At this time, he was waiting at the front of Luo Cheng, and accurately penetrated Sha Yuji's body with the flying knife. He win extremely beautifully. If it hadn't been for Sha Yuji's life-threatening blow, he would have been unscathed. It's over, Master Jujutsu. Luo Cheng stood up with difficulty, endured the pain, and straightened his chest when the smoke cleared. Sorry, Rico. Sha Yuji closed his eyes in despair. He lost, and the person he wanted to protect, Rico Tenuki, who swore to protect him even if he went to war with Tianyan, was about to die. When I get to hell, I'll apologize to you. He was very unwilling. There were still things that had not been completed. He wanted to do something, but found that he did not even have the strength to open his eyes, not even the chance to take one last look at Rico Tenai. It's really a big battle. Luo Cheng stepped forward and came to Sha Yuji, about to make the final blow, when Fuhei Shire's figure walked in through the corridor. It's better not to kill him. There are countless cursed spirits in this kid's body. Once he dies as the carrier, I'm afraid there will be a cursed spirit rampage incident. Let's go. The guys from Jujutsu High School will be here soon. You're making too much noise. Fuhei Shire doesn't want to cause unnecessary problems. All their goals this time have been achieved. If the cursed spirit in Sha Yuji's body goes wild and is delayed here, he may have to stay here until the Jujutsu division comes to support him. Where's Gojo Satoru? Killed by me. Fuhei Shire grinned, walked over, picked up Luo Cheng, and quickly fled towards Jujutsu High School. How do you feel after fulfilling your wish? On the way, Luo Cheng asked this question. I can't say for sure. When I killed one of the Gojo brats, I did feel a moment of satisfaction and pride in my heart, but this feeling soon disappeared. The long-cherished wish was fulfilled, and Fuhei Shire was satisfied for a moment, but this feeling was soon filled with emptiness. Why this happened, he couldn't explain. Maybe from the beginning, what he pursued was not to prove something like those guys from the Zenin family. After killing Gojo Satoru, what he was thinking about was his deceased wife and the daughter he had abandoned. In the end, he found that he was no different from those boring guys. He also had concerns in his heart, but he buried them deep in his heart and didn't want to think about them. It is not until the wish is fulfilled that the heart is opened like an onion, revealing the true wish. That's not what a scumbag like you should say. Who says it's not the case, but since we made such a big noise today, the Gojo family and the Jujutsu world will definitely not let us go. Are you ready for the endless pursuit, the dregs of the world? HMPH, let me down. I'll walk the rest of the way by myself. You go and exchange the astral corpse for money. What? You still have something to do. Ah, there's a dinner waiting for me. You're such an enviable kid. By the way, your luck with women isn't too good. Fuhei Shire and Luo Cheng don't look like people on the run. Conversations continued along the way, speeding towards the setting sun. As they said, they did something earth-shattering today that would break the sky. Two guys with no potential as Jujutsu masters defeated two of the most talented Jujutsu masters in the history of the high school. One died and the other was seriously injured, and this happened in the high school. It is conceivable that Jujutsu High School will go crazy next. Especially the Gojo family, whose talented magician was killed after hundreds of years, will definitely pursue Luo Cheng and Fuhei Shire at all costs. But they have no fear. They are just the remnants that have been abandoned by the world. What else is there to be afraid of? Fuhei Shire walked quickly and left the high school soon. He escaped before the people from the high school sealed off the place. Luo Cheng soon separated from Fuhei Shire. He was going to treat his injuries, while Fuhei Shire walked in the direction of Pengsing Sect to collect his commission fee. Inside Mei Mei's office. This woman was leisurely drinking afternoon tea. There were exquisite pastries on the table, and she was holding a fashion magazine in her hand. This was her daily routine when there were no fat sheep coming to be slaughtered. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew. Mei Mei looked behind subconsciously and saw Luo Cheng's figure. He looked very embarrassed and disgraced, and there were traces of blood on the corners of his mouth that had not been wiped clean. It was obvious at a glance that he had just experienced a fierce battle. If possible, I would like to eat yesterday's dinner today. Are you here to invite me to dinner? I think you are more like seeking refuge. Luo Cheng's appearance here means that their mission is most likely completed. In other words, the situation of the two junior brothers Gojo Satoru and Sha Yuji is likely to be very bad. Soon, I'm afraid the entire Jujutsu high school will be shaken. Fortunately, this guy wanted to come here to recover and hide from the trouble. I'll give you money. Come in. Mei Mei lay down, closed the doors and windows, and found a place for Luo Cheng to lie down. He was seriously injured. He lifted up his shirt, and there were large areas of marks on it that had been eroded by the spell. Thanks to him being the tyrant of heaven and earth, he was born with the resistance to curses, otherwise he would have died before he could hold on. Just like Zenin Maki, the incompletely awakened sky and tyrant was swallowed by the cursed spirit, and was soon eroded by the curse. Luo Cheng is different. Even if he collides head-on with the whirlpool and faces the bombardment of spell power, it will only be partially eroded and not fatal. After Mei Mei is eliminated with the power of magic, it will not take a few days to become full of vitality. Chapter 49, Accident. Pengxing Sect. After Fu Haixi separated from Luokung, he came here non-stop. In front of the person in charge, he spit out the cursed spirit ugly treasure that he had recovered, and spit out the astral body, which was Riko Tenuki. Astral body, Tene Riko, all 5 bodies are complete, and there is still breath. It is up to you to do whatever you want. Fushiguro didn't kill Tenuki Riko because Tenuki Riko was knocked unconscious at that time. At that time, he didn't want to waste time and was eager to know the situation of Luo Cheng in the main hall, so he asked Cho Bao to swallow Tenai Riko in one bite, and shot the maid to death as soon as she came in. Of course, the other party is just an ordinary person. After being devoured by the ugly treasure for so long, most of his body has been eroded, and there is almost no possibility of survival. Thank you for doing it. The person in charge of the Pengxing sect lifted up Riko Tenai's bangs and confirmed that it was the target he was looking for. I'll give you the reward as promised. Well, let's do this. I'll give you a little more. You've worked hard all the way. As expected of the leader, he is so grand. I'm not a leader. Kong Xiu was also on the side, correcting Fu Haixi. Then he said, it doesn't matter. Although it is a necessary fund, I have already asked you to provide a lot of assistance. I also asked you to bring people to Okinawa and lost a lot of manpower. Even if you deduct the remuneration, I will not do it. Have opinions. It doesn't matter, I entrust you to assassinate the astral body. To be honest, we don't have too many expectations. After all, Jujutsu High School sent out Gojo Satoru this time. He never thought that this commission would really be completed by Fushiguro. Although Gojo Satoru is small, he has already achieved great success and has a courage that no one can overcome. This person said sincerely, since Tengen-sama spread Buddhism in the Nara period, he has established a moral foundation for a small group of people such as magicians. This is how we have the Pansei sect. But also because of this, the Jujutsu world and religious corporations have evolved from one it was incompatible from the beginning. What was born from this distortion is today's Pengxing sect, the vessel of time. We insist on the position of non-magicians, because even though magicians have many privileges, in principle, they are not allowed to attack non-magicians. This is the reason why our Pansei sect has been passed down from the Nara period to the present day. However, it is not without crisis. The real crisis comes from Riko Tenuki, or the astral body in front of her. The believers who worship and believe in Tianyuan cannot accept that Tianyuan wants to assimilate with the secular mortals. Once such assimilation is completed, the believers' beliefs will collapse, the supreme Tianyuan in their eyes will become no longer sacred and contaminated, and the Pengxing sect will collapse as a result. It can be said that the top leaders of the Pengxing sect commissioned Fu Haixi to assassinate the astral body. It's not just that they don't want Tianyuan to be polluted, but more importantly, they want to maintain the operation of Pengxing sect and let the believers continue to believe in Tianyuan and Pengxing sect. Fundamentally speaking, what they fear is that after Tianyuan and the astral body are assimilated, their supreme status will be impacted. Perhaps the Pengxing sect was pure at the beginning, simply believing in the teachings of Tianyuan and the Pengxing sect. However, with the development of the times and the passage of thousands of years, the Pengxing sect will inevitably become a cult-like organization that uses the beliefs of its believers to seek personal gain for itself. The filth in it is so filthy that it is unimaginable. Neither Fu Haixi nor Kong Xiu were interested in asking. After receiving their reward, they stood up and left. How do you plan to reward yourself after getting so much reward in one go? I don't know. Let's have a big meal first and pay with that kid Luo Cheng's share. If he finds out, he will kill you. He loves money very much. That's true. Sometimes I can't help but wonder, is it because they both love money that he can hang out with a jujutsu master named Mei Mei? Fuhashir spread his hands with a teasing expression. Mei Mei's love for money is pure love. Counting money is her greatest pleasure. Just like Naruto's Kakuzu, it is pure love. Luo Cheng's love for money is to save it and buy cursed tool to make himself stronger. Sometimes, Fuhashir himself couldn't figure out why Luo Cheng was working so hard. However, in short, the incident has been resolved. After parting with Kong Xiu, he decided to have a good meal and go back to see which child he sold to the Zenin family. Well, let's forget it. If he knew he had a father like me, that kid would definitely cry in sadness. That's it. Anyway, he has the talent of jujutsu. No matter where he ends up in Zenin's house, his situation should be better than mine. Fuhashir has two wishes. The first one is to prove to the Zenin family that he is not a useless person and can become a strong man without the power of magic. This was accomplished when he killed Gojo Satoru. The second is to return to Zenin's home, to the place where he was born. He couldn't do this. His personality dictated that he would never set foot in Zenin's house again. But his child can. When he sold the child back to Zenin's family, he may not have had the idea to let his child fulfill his wish. As for the deepest wish in my heart, it will never be realized in this life. His wife has died and will never come back. Her body was cremated and buried in the cold ground, where she will sleep forever. As he walked, he raised his head to face the afterglow of the setting sun, raised his hands to cover his eyes, and saw a person who shouldn't have appeared in front of him. Hey, long time no see. It turned out to be Gojo Satoru, not dead yet, still wearing the high school uniform. He didn't have time to change, and was covered in his own blood. Real or fake? Fuhashir looked at the other party in astonishment. Reverse the technique. He only thought of this possibility. Such a serious fatal injury could not be cured in a short time. Only the reversal technique could do it. The answer is correct. When you stabbed my throat, I gave up my counterattack and devoted all my energy to the reversal technique. The power of the spell is negative energy. Even if it can strengthen the body, it cannot regenerate. So multiply the negative energy, and the negative will become positive to produce positive energy. This is the inversion technique. Although it is simple, I have never succeeded before, and I am even more convinced by what that guy Shoko said. I can't even understand it. This kid. Already high. A surprised look flashed in Fuhashir's eyes. The Gojo Satoru in front of him was different from what he had seen before, and he did not mean dirty and embarrassed. But at this time, the other party's state seemed to be crazy, and he was constantly telling or sharing with himself the joy of realizing the reversal technique. Now that I have mastered the core of the curse, there is only one reason for your failure, that is, you did not cut off my head. Reason of failure. Fushiguro didn't waste any time. He took out the tenibo and said coldly, the battle has just begun. Chapter 50, Legacy. Gojo Satoru actually survived, which was beyond Fushiki's expectation. He has no fear. If he can kill the opponent once, he will have the confidence to kill him a second time, until Gojo Satoru never gets up. The reason for failure. The battle has just begun, kid. He drew out the tenibo with one hand and wanted to fight the proud man of this era again. Really? That's right. Gojo Satoru's state is really different. He looks crazy, like a madman, opening his arms as if to embrace the whole world. Fuhashir said nothing and continued to charge forward with a ferocious face. The unparalleled body of Tianyu Tyrant was vividly displayed at this moment. In just one breath, he was in front of his opponent. The Tenni Hoko in his hand turned into the most deadly weapon and continuously stabbed Gojo Satoru. But the other party has really become very different, and has mastered the core of the spell. Gojo Satoru completed the compression of space when Fushigi was completely unaware of it, and detoured behind Fushigi at a faster speed than Fushigi. No, this is no longer speed, but instantaneous movement. By compressing the distance between the starting point and the end point to the extreme, you can span several kilometers in one step, which is incredibly fast. Even Fushiguro Shiji was shocked and speechless by Gojo Satoru's performance. Spell reversal. Ha! Gojo Satoru aimed at Fushigi with one hand, stood upside down, and completed the reversal of the technique that he had never been able to successfully perform before. It was as simple as snapping his fingers, and a huge energy impact swept over him like a huge wave. All the cells in Fushihe's body sent out danger signals at this moment, causing him to immediately raise the Tenihaho to resist, but he was still hit 100 meters away. What a monster! Fuhashir hit the hard wall with his head, and blood was already bleeding from the corner of his mouth. He was injured with just one blow, but he could still fight. He could see that the Gojo Satoru in front of him had evolved and mastered the secret or truth of the power of the curse. Knocking himself back with one blow, Gojo Satoru was not happy about it. He was intoxicated in the world of spell power and jujutsu, and there was nothing else in his eyes. There is nothing wrong with the bones. The impact just now was a reverse technique with no lower limit. The positive energy generated by the reverse technique is then injected into the technique with no lower limit. There is no lower limit to the Gojo family's magic, and the people who know it best, apart from the Gojo family, are the Zenin family. Because the ancestors of the family once had a war with the ancestors of the Gojo clan, and both died together in the end, the history of the Zenin family clearly records the information about the magic techniques of the Gojo clan. First up is the power of blocking, the neutral no-bottom jujutsu. Then there is the power of traction, the enhanced technique with no lower limit, Kang. Finally, it's the reversal of the technique that just knocked me away, It's the power of the bounce. From the perspective of attack methods, the Gojo clan's spells are similar to Tendo Pain's abilities. No problem at all. Wow. Fushiguro pulled out the Banley lock, tied the Tenibo and started to spin, fusing the two cursed tools together and using them. The enemy is very strong, but he is still confident of defeating it. Kill you. Fushikiji waved the 10,000-mile lock in his hand towards Gojo Satoru, who seemed to be sleeping in midair. Why are you so persistent with Gojo Satoru? At this time, he suddenly thought of the conversation between Luo Cheng and himself not long ago. My answer at that time was to prove my worth to the Zenin clan and that his existence was not meaningless. But apart from that, there is one more thing Fuhashir didn't say. He could foresee that Gojo Satoru would become Luo Cheng's biggest opponent. If you want to kill Gojo Satoru along the way, it will be over. He wielded the Banri lock, which was extremely difficult to control. It looked like it had eyes in his hand, like a spiritual snake that kept attacking Gojo Satoru at tricky angles. But it was useless. Gojo Satoru has mastered the core of Jujutsu, and his understanding of magic power and Jujutsu has reached a new level, dominating the entire Jujutsu world. The best proof is that he easily conquered the H technique, which he had always been unable to master before. As if he couldn't see the crisis, he gently twisted his body in midair, but strangely neutralized all Fuhashir's attacks. Even when facing a powerful enemy like Fushiki-shiji, what he was thinking about was not how to defeat his opponent, but Riko Tenuki, who was probably dead. I'm sorry, Tiane, I'm not angry for you now, nor do I hate anyone. I just simply feel that this world makes me extremely comfortable. The sun is warm, the lake is clear, the breeze is comfortable, the insects are chirping and the birds are chirping, like a beautiful symphony. Gojo Satoru devoted his whole body and soul to this world, immersed in it, and felt a sense of joy that he had never felt since he was born. He was covered in blood, and the scar on his forehead that was punched by Fuhashir had not fully recovered. The scar was very scary. But Gojo Satoru smiled at this moment, laughing from the bottom of his heart. He pointed to the sky and the ground, completely ignoring the enemy. I am the only one in heaven and under heaven. This little devil. Fuhashir gritted his teeth and was no longer calm. His overly sharp senses made him aware of a big crisis. Forcing him to attack desperately, there is a feeling that if Gojo Satoru is not killed immediately, it will all be over. The advantage of a technique that has been passed down from generation to generation is that there are instructions for use, so there are fewer detours. The disadvantage is that the information about the technique is easily leaked. You are from the Zenin family, so no wonder you know so much about unlimited techniques. But what comes next, even among the Gojo family, only a very few people know about it. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. Gojo Satoru slowly raised his hand, pointed it in the direction of Fushire, and flicked it gently. Shu-shi, chew. Buzz. With one blow, it seemed as if even the heaven and earth changed color. Fuhashir sensed great danger, but his body could not move. No, it's not that I can't move, it's that I don't have time to dodge. In a daze, Fu Haixier saw his deceased wife holding their newborn child with a happy smile on her face. He knew it was a revolving door. The beautiful memories buried deep in the heart that a person recalls before his death are also regrets. Do you died? Boom. A huge wave erupted, and Gojo Satoru penetrated the Penxing cult with just one blow, including Fu Haixier's body. Wow. Wanli Suo fell weakly, and Fu Haixier came back to his senses from the world of memories, feeling a pain, and half of his body was exploded. Any last words? No. Fu Haixier lost, but his style remained the same, as free and easy as if the person who died was not himself, but his opponent. But immediately, he remembered the son who was about to be sold to the Zenin family. Maybe it would be better to leave it to this guy. In 2 or 3 years, my child will be sold to the Zenin family, and you can do whatever you want. Also, don't cremate my body so quickly. Luo Cheng, if it were you, you would definitely be able to see his strongest technique through this scar. I'd better leave this monster to you, Luo Cheng. Accept it, this is the last legacy I leave to you. I'll wait for you in hell, Gojo Kid. After saying these last words, Fu Haixier died completely. Before leaving this world, all he left to Gojo Satoru was a smiling face. There is also the final legacy given to Luokung. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 51, Death News. The last ray of dusk also fell, and the entire land was shrouded in night. The famous magician killer Fushiki Shijiro died. He died on his way back and was defeated by the genius magician of the Gojo clan. From now on, there will be no more magician killers in the world. Fu Haixier smiled until the moment his life passed away, and stood to bid farewell to this world. Because he believed that someone would help him fulfill his greatest wish in life. Gojo Satoru looked at the person in front of him and didn't speak for a long time. He did not kill the man in front of him, even though he almost killed him not long ago and also killed the person he wanted to protect. He just looked at the other person deeply for a few times, then turned around and walked into Penxing sect. He wanted to recover Riko Tenuki's body and prevent it from being defiled by these stupid guys. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jujutsu High School, Shayuji was successfully rescued and quickly recovered from his friend Ieri Shoko's reversal technique. The first thing he did after waking up was to go straight to the Penxing sect. Although he knew that it might be too late, he still had a small hope in his heart. I hope Riko Tenuki is still alive. He ran all the way, and when he arrived at Penxing cult, the first person he encountered was not Gojo Satoru, but a cursed spirit. He recognized that this cursed spirit belonged to Fushiki Shire, who had pierced Gojo Satoru's body with a knife not long ago. At this moment, the cursed spirit crawled to him with difficulty and told him something. Ha! Shayuji opened his eyes wide and could actually understand what Chobao said. Moment. He arrived at the main hall of Penxing sect and opened the door with anxiety. Amid applause, his friend Gojo Satoru walked towards him holding a corpse. It was this corpse that shattered Shayuji's last hope. But the fanatical followers of the Penxing sect standing on both sides were clapping vigorously to celebrate the death of Riko Tenuki, a young girl in her teens. At this moment, his heart felt as if it had been hit by a heavy hammer, feeling angry and helpless. Jay, do you want to kill these guys? Gojo Satoru suddenly spoke, and these words made Shayuji's eyes widen. It was like meeting Gojo Satoru for the first time, and I couldn't believe that such words would come out of his mouth. He raised his head and looked over. Gojo Satoru's 6 eyes were still bright, as if they were made of gemstones. But behind the devastation, there is a ray of darkness. Is this the same Gojo Satoru he knows? No need, there's no point. There are only ordinary believers here, and they know that the main criminal in the Jujutsu world has probably escaped. His tone was low and he couldn't figure it out. Just one afternoon passed, and it seemed like the whole world had changed. Including myself. Why do these guys celebrate Riko's death? Why do these guys have such too good expressions on their faces? These guys, why should he protect these guys? At the same time, Mei Mei's home. After discovering the wounds on Luo Cheng's body that were eroded by the spell, Mei Mei took Luo Cheng back to her home to recuperate. A large flat located in the city center with a very good environment, not far from the sea. This woman will never treat herself materially, and she will never spend less money. You can rest here for the time being. No one in the jujutsu world would think that you are hiding here with me and can rest in peace. You can't tell. If they give you enough money, you might sell me the next day. Then you'd better prepare more money than those in the college. This woman was so realistic that Luo Cheng was speechless. At this time, you have to knock his bamboo pole. But as Mei Mei said, her place is the safest place in Tokyo now. No one would have imagined that after Luo Cheng made a scene at Jujutsu High School, he would seek refuge in Mei Mei. This is why Luo Cheng found Mei Mei immediately. Mei Mei bandaged him and walked out of the room. After a while, the smell of meat came from the kitchen. When night fell, a strange combination of a jujutsu master and a curse user ate together at the table in harmony. Neither of them mentioned the astral matter incident, and they enjoyed their dinner quietly, with a silent understanding permeating the air. When Mei Mei was in it, she felt an experience she had never had before. She doesn't hate it, she seems to have found other pleasures besides making money and counting money. Her life was not long, but she met many types of opposite sexes. Mei Mei is very confident in her looks. It is not an exaggeration to say that with her face, she can easily earn a lot of money without any talent if she quits the jujutsu profession and goes to the entertainment industry. There are naturally no shortage of wild bees and butterflies around. Luo Cheng is the first person of the opposite S*X who only talks about money with him. This is too much to her liking, just like drinking with a close friend, 1,000 cups are too little. When Luo Cheng talks about money with her, there will always be many topics, and he is on her radio wave. Mei Mei was even thinking about it at this time, should she try to feel the youth she had never felt before. Taking Luo Cheng as a target, she did not resist. The question of who takes the initiative is no longer within her scope of consideration. She has always been the kind of woman who knows what she wants. And prying open the Luo Cheng stone is a very interesting thing in itself. Thinking of this, she decided to give herself a few days rest and take a good look at the man who stabbed her when they first met. Luo Cheng naturally didn't know that this woman was eyeing him. But I know he won't refuse. He is very relaxed when getting along with Mei Mei. It's not easy for a guy like him to find someone he can talk to. His and Mei Mei's ideas are actually very similar. This is the tacit understanding between two twisted souls that brings them naturally closer. But at this moment, the phone in Luo Cheng's pocket rang. It was Kong Xiu calling. He wanted to tell the other party that he did not plan to accept any commissions in the next few days. But what the other party told him over the phone made Luo Cheng stunned. He was silent for a while before he said for the first time, huh. Mei Mei noticed his change and asked, what's wrong? Fuhaixier is dead. Chapter 52, Awakening of Ability. A few days later. A gust of cool wind blew, and Luo Cheng, who had recovered completely, appeared on a mountaintop. There is no life here, with pines and waves and overgrown weeds. Only the center of the top of the mountain has been cleaned very clean. There are 2 tombs in total, one has been around for some time, and the other is still brand new, a new tomb. Now you can finally be reunited with your wife. Luo Cheng found this place in the morning and buried Fuhaixier's body here with his own hands. Let this famous magician killer be buried next to the only woman he loved in his life, and reunite in another way. He was a little absent-minded and a little sad, standing blankly in front of the grave. I never thought that Fushiguro would bury his wife here. Kong Xiu came and brought a bouquet of white chrysanthemums. He did not expect that people like Fuhaixier would have people who truly cared about and loved him. He looked at the photo of the woman in the old grave. She was not beautiful, but very ordinary. If she were thrown into the sea of people, she would not be noticed at all. But this old tomb was kept very clean, and it was not difficult to see that someone would come to clean it and pay homage from time to time. He couldn't imagine any scene. The ruthless, impulsive and irritable Fuhaixier would go to the grave when no one was around and quietly express his feelings to his dead wife. Luo Cheng didn't respond, just silence. The light at noon shines down, but it is difficult to make people feel warm. This place is too desolate, with only 2 lonely graves surrounded by weeds, which makes people sad. Luo Cheng, this is what happened when Fushiguro was killed. Kong Xiu handed over a copy of the video. Neither Fuhaishiji nor Gojo Satoru knew that their battle was recorded by Pengxing Cult's camera. Although the picture was not particularly clear due to the distance, it was enough for Luo Cheng to analyze and get the information he wanted. In fact, there is no need for this video. Fu Haixier finally used his own body to convey a message to him. What killed him was not Kang or he, but the new secret of unlimited techniques that Gojo Satoru had never shown before. That blow was so strong that even Fu Haixier couldn't resist it or even dodge it. With just one blow, it penetrated the Pengxing sect. Where's the cursed spirit next to Xier? Is there any news about it? No, I'm afraid he was beaten to pieces along with Fushiguro. Impossible, it must still be alive, find it. Among all Fu Haixier's relics, Luo Cheng did not see his cursed tools. Wanli Suo, Tian Ni Bo, Yuyun, Soul Release Sword, etc. are all missing. He asked the Zenin people that Jujutsu High School did not recycle the cursed tools of Fu Haixier, as if they disappeared with his death. There is only one possibility. Chou Bao was not dead. He took away all the cursed tools from Fu Haixier and left the battlefield, but he was nowhere to be found. I know, I will try my best to find out the information about which cursed spirit. Kang Xiu nodded, and then asked, what about you, what are you going to do next? The wind was strong, the pines were whining, and the lonely grave made people sad. Luo Cheng stood in front of Fu Haixier's grave and stared at it for a long time. A year ago, some inexplicable people always appeared in front of me and said some inexplicable words to me. They believe that there are some irresistible rules in this world. Once one party becomes too powerful, the will of the world will take action to bring each other back to balance. They generally believe that Gojo Satoru is the one who breaks the balance, and I am the one who corrects the balance. A battle between Gojo Satoru and I is inevitable. Are they those curse users? Kang Xiu had met Awasaka Ariang, both of whom were veterans in the industry. A year ago, it somehow started to lurk, and the curse user group secretly promoted that curse user is about to usher in true freedom. And the person they promoted as being able to bring freedom to curse users was Luo Cheng, who was not even 20 years old. He looked sideways at Luo Cheng and asked, do you also believe in fate? I don't believe that even the established future has a chance to change. However, I will stand on the opposite side of Gojo Satoru as they wish. This is not that I accept my fate, but that I want to fulfill Xier's last wish, help him prove his worth, and tell the world that he existed. What he didn't finish, I will finish, Gojo Satoru, I will kill him. As the last 5 words fell, a burst of thunder suddenly sounded in the clear sky. Kang Xiu looked at Luo Cheng in shock. This face is still very young, but there is a shocking sense of oppression. Luo Cheng's eyes used to be sharp, but today's Luo Cheng makes Kang Xiu feel even sharper. This is because in the past, he did not find a goal to move forward, but only instinctively pursued strength. It's different now, he has found his purpose. It's not something as simple as revenge, but to prove to the world that even trash like them can shake the world. The Crimson King appeared beside Luo Cheng at some point, his body burning with blood-red flames, as if to clarify his master's will, his ferocious face full of solemnity. Buzz. The terrifying mental power suddenly spread rapidly with Luo Cheng as the center. Kang Xiu watched all this in horror, not knowing what was happening. This fluctuation is very strong and continues to spread, first 100 meters, then 1,000 meters, then 10,000 meters, then 100,000 meters. In the blink of an eye, it swept the entire world. Luo Cheng seemed to feel something. When he opened his eyes, the originally sunny world suddenly collapsed. The sky, the earth, and the sea, everything disappeared. He seemed to be in another space. Kang Xiu next to him kept his frightened face, with no heartbeat, no breathing, and seemed to be dead. Same. Luo Cheng turned his head, and the Crimson King also looked over with concern, and his eyes collided with each other. In an instant, he understood that it was the Crimson King's second ability that had awakened. Just now, the entire world's time was deleted by him. Although it was short-lived, only a few seconds, by the time Kang Xiu came to life again, the Crimson King had disappeared and Luo Cheng had returned to his original appearance. What happened just now? Kang Xiu was frightened for a while. What did he just see? Saw nothing. But he really felt that Luo Cheng suddenly exuded a huge wave of terror. Nothing happened. Luo Cheng turned around and took a step forward. But at this step, in Kang Xiu's eyes, he had already walked hundreds of meters. How come he didn't know it, as if he was moving instantly? When he came back to his senses, Kang Xiu realized that his back was wet with sweat at some point. Chapter 53, Time Deletion. The Crimson King's ultimate power awakened, and as soon as it appeared, it shook the world and deleted the time of the entire world. At the moment when time deletion was activated, all Jujutsu masters in the world felt a sense of disobedience. Including Gojo Satoru. Where were we just now? Gojo Satoru put on sunglasses and looked back at the road he walked. As if he had activated an unlimited teleportation technique, he suddenly appeared here. But he could clearly realize that he did not activate the technique. As a result, he suddenly advanced a few meters for no reason, and time seemed to be fast-forwarded. It's your imagination, right, J. Ieri Shoko also felt inconsistent, but she was not a fighting sorcerer, so the feeling was not as strong. Probably. Shayuji has not yet recovered from the encounters of the past few days. The warm smile of the past is hard to see anymore and is very deep. Didn't I say it has nothing to do with you? Tenai's death is my problem. Gojo Satoru comforted him. He instinctively felt that something was wrong with the abnormality just now, but the more important thing at the moment was to help his companions return to normal. There are many people who feel the same strangeness as Gojo Satoru and others. Everyone, including ordinary people, discovered that something had happened in the past few seconds. But they don't know that there are abnormalities hidden behind the surface of this world, so they just think it is their illusion and continue their lives. Did you put sugar in my coffee just now? Mei Mei sat on the chair in the office, looking at the 3 candies that suddenly appeared in the cup with strange eyes. This was what she was about to do, but before she could do it, something strange happened at this moment. Ah. No, Miss Mei Mei, what's wrong? In front of her was a warlock from Kyoto, who had a commission for Mei Mei. Nothing, let's continue talking about the commission fee. Ah. Why don't we talk about the content of the commission first? That's not important. Let's talk about money. I'm more interested in this. After all, the entire world's time was deleted, even if it was just a few seconds, it attracted the attention of many caring people. They communicated with each other and soon discovered that the abnormality was not an accident. Someone had really moved the time of the entire Tokyo, and even the entire world. This is scary because of the element of time involved. This is the terrifying ability of the Red King to delete time. Even if one can detect that time has been pried and changed, in the deleted time, no one in the entire world except Luo Cheng knows what happened in the past few seconds. However, this alone is not enough. The peak of the Red King can delete more than 10 seconds of time, but Luo Cheng just deleted just 6 seconds. Although it is strange to say time in the deleted time, 6 seconds is 6 seconds, Luo Cheng can really feel it. Of course, 6 seconds of time deletion is already very powerful, but if the opponent is Gojo Satoru who can't even fight Fushiguro, 6 seconds of time deletion is not enough. Because the Red King's time deletion has a considerable limit. He cannot attack during the deleted time and can only move. Therefore, in the 5th part of JoJo, the boss always uses time deletion to bypass the opponent's back and carry out sneak attacks. He already had an idea in his mind on how to increase the length of the time delete. Night. At Mei Mei's house, the first thing she does when she gets home after a day's work is to take a bath. Since Luo Cheng was not here, she could hold nothing back and walked out of the hall naked after taking a bath. Unexpectedly, the strange incident happened again in the afternoon. The idea had just appeared in her mind, but when she came to her senses, she had already opened the bathroom door and walked out. What made it even more difficult for her to accept was that as soon as she walked out of the door, Luo Cheng appeared in front of her, standing there blankly, looking into her eyes. Does it look good? Luo Cheng was silent. He walked in the door and bumped into Mei Mei after taking a shower. He really didn't know how to respond. Don't think that if you don't say anything, you can pretend that nothing happened. Mei Mei smiled, then suddenly took out a big hammer from nowhere and hit Luo Cheng on the head with great force. Buzz. Huge fluctuations once again swept the entire world, and global time was once again disturbed. Mei Mei was stunned. She was already covered in a bathrobe, her exquisite figure was wrapped up, while Luo Cheng habitually sat in his familiar position. She was startled for a moment and asked, the abnormality this afternoon was caused by you. Even Mei Mei was a little moved at this time. Who has leveraged global time? Is it Luo Cheng who has just seen himself exposed? It's me. Luo Cheng nodded, but did not elaborate. You admit it just like that. Aren't you afraid that I will reveal your information to the high school? You're the only one I trust right now. Luo Cheng said something that Mei Mei didn't expect, and her heart beat faster for the first time in her life. But the vicissitudes of life in Luo Cheng's words made her unable to continue imagining downwards, leaving her with an uncomfortable feeling of loneliness. Furthermore, Gojo Satoru's 6 eyes are extraordinary. You can see through the Red King's abilities with just the slightest clue. In other words, except for Gojo Satoru, the rest of the Jujutsu masters are not in his consideration at this moment. Mei Mei sighed, as if she had expected it. From the moment Gojo Satoru killed Fushire, we guessed that Luo Cheng would completely stand against Gojo Satoru. One side is the strongest Jujutsu master who has just mastered the core of the spell. On one side is the strongest curse user who has just awakened the ability to manipulate time. Just imagining the collision between these two people makes everyone tremble with fear. My goal is just Gojo Satoru. This is Luo Cheng's promise not to anger other Jujutsu masters. Hey. Mei Mei sighed silently. I want to persuade Luo Cheng to give up revenge, but I don't know where to start. The relationship between Luo Cheng and Fuhei Shir is very complicated. They are both master and disciple, and they are the same kind. It is too difficult for him to let go. Not targeting other Jujutsu masters, but only targeting Gojo Satoru alone, is the best result. What are you going to do next? I want to go back to my hometown, and find someone. How can I help you? Find this cursed spirit, or maybe it's Shir's relic. Other cursed tools are easy to talk about, but Tianibobo must recycle them. It was too slow for him to do this kind of thing, so he could only ask 2 intelligence experts, Kong Xiu and Mei Mei, to help. Remuneration. I won't take your reward this time. When you come back next time, go on a date with me. You be ********************************* D, you can see all of my body. Also, next time you come in, don't activate your abilities randomly again. Good. Chapter 54, 3 years, breaking into Jujutsu High School. Luo Cheng did not stay at Mei Mei's home for too long. Night. The bustling scene in Tokyo is bustling with lights and lights. Countless urban beauties who had worked hard during the day, all with their bow ties on, were walking together in major stores. Among them, Izakaya is the busiest, filled with a large number of customers. Awasaka Urliong and his party were also among them, talking about what happened not long ago. Hey, Awasaka, can we just keep hiding like this? Otherwise, what else can we do? Mr. Luo Cheng made too much noise this time and broke into Jujutsu High School, the stronghold of the Jujutsu Division. In the past 2 days, the activities of the Jujutsu Division have been much more frequent than before. Awasaka Urliong drank wine gloomily. He loves killing and enjoys the pleasure of killing each other. But in recent days, he has to consider safety issues even when he goes out. What Luo Cheng and Fushihei Shir did was too bold, and they even killed the Jujutsu Division in the cradle. Jujutsu High School is the most important place in the Jujutsu world, a place that replenishes new blood and brings several Jujutsu masters to the high school every year. Although I say that, even Lord Luo Cheng failed in the end. The other person raised his glass with an incomprehensible expression. Luo Cheng, who they had high hopes for, failed. So does Jujutsu High School still have a chance to break in? I don't believe Lord Luo Cheng will fail. After that day, the Jujutsu High Commissioner only announced the news that Fushiki Shiji had been killed, and the rest of the information was not revealed at all. What happened to the astral body, and what happened to Luo Cheng, who made a big fuss with Fuhei Shire at Jujutsu High School? They said nothing about it. Awasaka Urliong only believed that Jujutsu High School had a guilty conscience. Although Fushiguro was killed by them in the end, Jujutsu High School also paid a heavy price. Such speculation is not without reason. Which cult Panxing sect still exists and has not disbanded is the best proof. I am afraid that the target astral body that Jujutsu High School wants to protect has been killed by Luo Cheng, so this battle cannot be regarded as a complete victory for Jujutsu High School. That's right. I don't believe that Lord Luo Cheng will lose. The speaker was a curse user who had personally come into contact with Luo Cheng. He was deeply impressed by Luo Cheng's strength and did not believe that anyone could defeat him, even if the opponent was named Gojo Satoru. But continuing like this is not an option. What should we do next? The tail goddess also interjected. Although they gathered a lot of manpower, they lacked key leaders. Because Luo Cheng still doesn't acknowledge the existence of their group of followers, and he still can't find a target. In the past year, he has been muddled along, being suppressed by the Jujutsu world like a rat crossing the street. Gather all the people together. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Question mark question mark question mark. The sudden words caused the curse users present to change their colors and react immediately, assuming a fighting stance. In the middle of them, an extra person appeared at some point, grabbed a glass of wine on the table, and poured it into his mouth. Lord Luo Cheng. Liang Awasaka was the first person to discover Luo Cheng. Although he was surprised, he was inevitably very excited. This was the first time Luo Cheng took the initiative to find them. How long will it take to gather a curse user team that can compete with Jujutsu High School, including Kyoto High School? Luo Cheng didn't talk nonsense and asked questions straightforwardly. Awasaka Liang didn't know how to respond for a while. He wanted to say that curse user is not a Jujutsu division after all. Most of them are stragglers and it is difficult to unite. But facing Luo Cheng's first question, he plucked up the courage and said, 5 years, no, it only takes 3 years. Lord Luo Cheng, give me 3 years, and I will be able to gather enough strength to compete with the Jujutsu world team. Although it was still unclear what happened, Awasaka Liang issued a military order. He believes that this is Luo Cheng's test of his ability, and once completed, Luo Cheng will recognize their existence. 3 years. This time is not long, because most curse users act alone and do their own things. It is not easy to unite. Luo Cheng couldn't help but think highly of this guy when he heard that Awasaka Jiro was able to gather a force that could compete with the Jujutsu world in just 3 years. 3 years. Okay, I'll give you 3 years. After 3 years, if you don't gather enough to fight the curse user team of Jujutsu High School and Kyoto High School, I will kill you. Ha 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 ha, no problem, Master Luo Cheng, I will not let you down. Liang Awasaka assured him, patting his chest. On the other hand, Taishinpo on the side couldn't help but ask, Master Luo Cheng, I wonder what you want to do by summoning curse user. Invasion of Jujutsu High School. What? Luo Cheng's words were very soft, falling into several people's ears, but they were like a bombshell being detonated. These few words were so impactful that they made the hearts of everyone present beat wildly. Are you afraid? When you were looking for me, didn't you just want me to fight Gojo Satoru? Now I'll give you this chance. 3 years later, I will attack the Jujutsu High School and challenge Gojo Satoru, the strongest sorcerer of our generation. All you need to do is don't let those Jujutsu masters hinder me. If I win, at some point, many of you will have your wishes come true. Remember, you only have 3 years. After saying that, Luo Cheng disappeared into the private room of this izakaya without any warning. There was no trace left, as if he had never appeared. Only the wine in the glass that had been drunk proved that Luo Cheng had been here. Others did not dare to express their anger. Luo Cheng's stay was short, but the news he brought to them was earth-shattering. Guests, you want some wine? Phew. Before the waiter could finish his words, Awasaka Uro stabbed his heart through the knife. He laughed maniacally, ha 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 ha, finally it's about to begin. The ultimate battle between curse user and Jujutsu master is about to break out. Don't worry, Mr. Luo Cheng, I will not let you down. 3 years from now, when you step into Jujutsu High School, I promise you that no one will stop you. He swore in the direction Luo Cheng left. Although he didn't know how Luo Cheng left, he couldn't contain the madness in his heart. The others were similar, with enthusiastic expressions. Attacking Jujutsu High School was a crazy idea that they only dared to dream about in their minds but did not dare to trample on. Now, Luo Cheng is taking them to realize it. Don't be too happy. It's not easy to gather enough curse users to fight against those disgusting Jujutsu masters. Agami's eyes were equally fiery, as if she was 10 years younger. But she is also very calm, knowing that it is not easy to gather so many people in 3 years. However, even if they can't do it, they have to do it, otherwise they will be the first ones Luo Cheng kills. Chapter 55, Returning to Homeland. Tibet. One of the 5 ethnic minority autonomous regions in Daxia, it is located in the southwest region, between 26.50 and 36.53 north latitude, with an average altitude of more than 4,000 meters, and is known as the roof of the world. After completing everything in Tokyo, Luo Cheng stepped into his hometown again after 4 years. After some investigation, he came here. 4 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Just like in history, the country has quietly entered a high-speed development path without the whole world knowing about it. Luo Cheng came here alone and felt a unique customs. This place is far away from the city, surrounded by greenery and mountains. It is boundless at a glance. When you are in it, you can feel how insignificant human beings are in front of nature. Today's temperature is a bit cold, and it is drizzling sparsely in the sky, which wets the soil and grass, making them more vivid. Luo Cheng looked at the map in his hand and walked along the road. This time he returned to China with only one purpose, to find spiritual salvation and face the nightmare that he did not dare to face in the past. 3 days ago, he returned to a place in the past that he thought was like hell. But I found that somewhere had long been abandoned, and that dark warehouse in my memory had been completely destroyed. On that day that year, the sister of the boy he killed personally had long since disappeared. Fortunately, the incident was very sensational and attracted great social attention. Luo Cheng made inquiries and finally found the information about the girl. She has returned to her hometown, to the arms of her parents, and to the beautiful homeland of Tibet. Luo Cheng walked along the road step by step. Not fast, as if he was scared, and as if he was not prepared to face the boy's family. But the road must come to an end. One day, he walked in Tibet for a whole day. The changeable weather here could not affect him, but this land integrated with nature made him determined. He finally walked into the grassland. Soon, he met an enthusiastic herdsman who was not proficient in Mandarin. Luo Cheng listened patiently and spoke patiently, and finally made his purpose clear. The woman showed a surprised expression at first, and then asked him to come with her. About 20 minutes later, Luo Cheng came to several yurts. Obviously, this is a herdsman family. Not most people in Tibet live in yurts. There are many cities where most of the people living in yurts are herdsmen. Here we are. The child's father, someone is looking for Meow Meow. Is my daughter back? The woman didn't speak Mandarin, but Luo Cheng understood roughly, and his heart, which had finally been calm for a while, became turbulent again. When the man heard his wife's cry, he rode over and looked at Luo Cheng. He only thought that the other party was a traveler, but he miraculously knew his daughter. Young man, are you in the wrong place? The man looked at Luo Cheng's age, which was quite different from his own daughter's. He was probably looking for the wrong place and the wrong person. Luo Cheng was silent for a moment before speaking to the poor parents. 4 years ago, the butcher incident shocked the country. In just a few days, a large-scale human trafficking group was destroyed. All the group members in several dens were killed. Eviscerated. The butcher who killed them was me. And Luo Cheng paused here, looking at his poor parents who looked in disbelief, and then poured a basin of cold water down. Which of you died 4 years ago? My son was beaten to death with my own hands. Boom. When Luo Cheng finished his last words, the poor couple's minds were filled with a roar. Their expressions changed several times in an extreme amount of time. Grief, sorrow, longing and endless anger. The man seemed to have not come back to his senses and stood still on the horse. The woman, on the other hand, felt a wave of sadness rush into her brain. She rushed towards Luo Cheng and slapped his face, head, chest and other parts with all her teeth and 5 claws. Tears fell on the other person's face at some point. She was crying, sobbing, and speaking in Tibetan that Luo Cheng couldn't understand. But it is not difficult to guess that the other party must be asking Curse himself, the butcher and murderer, why he would do this to a child of several years old. Luo Cheng stood there, motionless, still letting the other party vent his anger, slapping him in the face one after another. Compared to the parents' pain of losing their son, his pain was nothing. Mom, what's wrong with you? Why did you hit someone suddenly? At this time, a girl about 11 or 12 years old also came back on horseback. Seeing her mother slapping a stranger in the face like crazy, she quickly ran over to dissuade her. But this reminded the woman. She turned around and grabbed the shotgun from her husband. Without giving her daughter and husband a chance to stop him, she pointed it at Luo Cheng and pulled the trigger. Bang! The bullet hit Luo Cheng's body, causing a little blood to appear. Her family members were stunned and quickly dismounted and came to hold the wife mother, who had lost control, but she still refused to let go, crying and struggling, trying to shoot Luo Cheng to death. Her voice was sharp and tearful. She pointed at Luo Cheng and angrily shouted, "Murder! You murderer! My poor child, he was only 5 years old at the time, how could you do it?" Luo Cheng was just silent and could only remain silent. Looking at such a family, what could he say? Even if he was shot to death by the other party, he would have no regrets. His hands were covered with blood. The 5-year-old boy was beaten to death by his own hands. His life came to an end and returned to eternal darkness and silence. Luo Cheng left. To be precise, he was driven away. The family didn't want to see him even for a minute. But he didn't go far. He chose a place, then took out the Tianyu sword and stabbed it into his shoulder, and picked out the bullet with an expressionless face. Tianyu Tyrant's body is very strong, especially after being trained by Fuhaxier Hell Gang. Ordinary firearms cannot penetrate his body. The blood he shed was hot, but his heart was cold. Luo Cheng did not leave. In the following days, he would come to the door every day and encountered all kinds of vicious curses. Then he would return not far away to wait and come to the door again for the second time. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 56. The Perfection of the Soul. The temperature difference between day and night in Tibet varies greatly, with hot days and cold nights. If it is winter, the temperature will dive to dozens of degrees below zero, spitting water, and ice can be visible to the naked eye. Although it is not winter at this time, it is also autumn. If ordinary people are like Luo Cheng, they will definitely get sick. But Tian and Tyrant's body was too strong. A month had passed, and Luo Cheng was fine and in good health. Come a month. Luo Cheng would visit the family every day, but he was verbally abused and mercilessly expelled day after day. But he is tireless and will come to the door on time every day no matter how unpleasant the other party scolds him. Perhaps in his heart, this is what he wants, to be scolded, beaten and cursed by the other party. This will make him feel better inside. Night falls again. Not far from the family's yurt, Luo Cheng lit firewood and placed the prey he had hunted during the day on it to roast. It was windy and cold at night, but he didn't feel it. His sharp eyes in the past seemed dull now. At this time, a burst of footsteps came. It was a girl from that year, whose nickname was Meow Meow. Herdsmen will not stay in one place forever, because the grass is not infinite and needs time to grow. Whenever the grass is eaten up, they will change places and return again in early spring next year. What exactly do you want to do? You've been following us for a month. She came to Luo Cheng with calm eyes. She might have hated him at the beginning, but after a month, listening to her mother cursing and insulting him every day, some of the resentment in her heart also dissipated. Quote. You're not talking, are you? You've traveled thousands of miles to find our home just to hear my grandma curse you. This will make you feel better inside, right? Her voice became high-pitched and she seemed very excited. She clenched her fists and glared at Luo Cheng. At first, I just wanted to atone for my sins and use my life to repay your brother's life. But after seeing your family, no matter whether I die or not, I can't repay you. Your brother was beaten to death by my own hands. This is indisputable. The fact that he will never come back. Luo Cheng spoke. This was his original plan, to pay for it with his own life. The results of it. The moment he saw the other person's parents, he knew that no matter how many times he died, it would be insignificant. What they want is always their children, their family members who are connected by blood, not his life. Therefore, Luo Cheng actually doesn't know what he is doing or what he should do now. Actually, you don't need to do anything, just disappear in front of my grandma forever. Meow Meow is still very young, only 11 or 12 years old, but when she speaks, she gives people a maturity that belies her age. Luo Cheng knew very well that his daily visits would only make the family recall sad past events, which would only add to the sadness. But if he left like this, how would he be different from before? Still escaping. Seeing him fall into silence again, a sigh suddenly sounded in the air. It doesn't belong to Luo Cheng, nor Meow Meow, but from a cursed spirit. Brother, Actually, I don't blame you. Without you, my sister might not be able to come home by now, and my father and mother would be even more sad. Luo Cheng was about to draw his sword when he heard these words. He froze on the spot, staring dumbfounded at the cursed spirit that appeared in front of him. Although the body was obviously ugly, he seemed to see the cute appearance in front of him. Why did you come out after making your own decisions? Didn't I tell you not to come out casually? Meow Meow was obviously not talking to this cursed spirit for the first time. She yelled and blamed her brother for being disobedient and showing up on his own initiative. Cursed spirit explained carefully, telling his sister not to be angry. Luo Cheng was stunned and thought of a possibility. This pair of siblings cursed each other. What are you looking at? It's me who cursed my brother. You are also a jujutsu master, right? I can feel the fluctuation of the curse power contained in one of your rings. This is why Meow Meow is willing to come to see Luo Cheng. Because her brother was not completely dead. He was cursed by her and existed in this world in another form. Of course, if it was just like this, she would not come to see Luo Cheng. She just couldn't bear her brother's pleading and came to talk to Luo Cheng. Brother, don't blame your sister. She offends people so easily with her words, and she doesn't have many friends in school. He is different from his family members and treats Luo Cheng in a friendly manner. Because he knew that on that night 4 years ago, Luo Cheng saved his sister and all the other children. Ask him why he knows. From the moment he was killed, he was cursed by his sister, but both he and his sister were still very young at the time and had no one to teach them, so they didn't understand that this was jujutsu. But he did see Luo Cheng crawl out of his tomb, completely, punch the traffickers to death, and finally leave with guilt and exile himself. So he doesn't hate Luo Cheng. It was Luo Cheng who saved his sister and allowed his parents to rely on him. Sometimes, living people suffer more than dead people. He sincerely said to Luo Cheng, "Thank you, big brother. Thank you." Luo Cheng, who would not frown even when facing a curse user attack or forcing his way into Jujutsu High School, heard these 3 simple words, his eyes immediately turned red, and a few tears flowed down uncontrollably. Under the light of the fire, this god of death who can make Tokyo Jujutsu masters take a detour reveals his fragile side. The 2 siblings stood aside, watching quietly without saying a word. After some time, Luo Cheng stopped crying and said solemnly, thank you for being willing to forgive me. But this is not what I want. It doesn't matter whether you want my life or send me to prison to spend the rest of my life. But please give me some time. I have one thing that needs to be done. The boy asked, is it something important? Well, it's a very important thing, a revenge, a last wish. Revenge, last wish. I don't understand these things, but if Big Brother needs strength, I may be able to help you. Help me. How can you help me? Do you want to join Jujutsu High School on your own? No, just stay here and don't need to help. I don't know what you are thinking, but I have never thought about leaving my sister and the others. This. Chapter 57, Ripple Qigong. The second day. As soon as the sky turned white, Meow Meow's younger brother, who was beaten to death by Luo Cheng himself, turned into a cursed spirit child and floated over. Get up, big brother, it's time to start practicing. Practice. Luo Cheng does not think that the other party can help him because he is not a jujutsu master, but a tyrant of heaven and earth. He was deprived of the possibility of becoming a jujutsu master at birth. The jujutsu master's training method is of no use to him. He only needs to continue to explore his own potential and realize it to become very powerful. Because as he progresses, so will the Crimson King. But he still followed and saw Meow Meow sitting cross-legged on a hill, breathing in front of the sunrise. Really? I told my sister to wait. Come on, big brother, come with me. The practice is most effective at this time. The cursed spirit floated, allowing Luo Cheng to follow his sister and breathe out. At the same time, introduced to him the method and function of breathing. Brother, do you know that breathing requires blood to transport oxygen from the lungs, and blood is related to the cells in the body, so during the transportation process, breathing will guide and affect cells throughout the body. The breathing that my sister is doing now is a very special breathing method that can control one's own body by controlling cells. Ripple Qigong. When Luo Cheng heard the explanation, he immediately thought of the main combat energy of the first and second parts of JoJo. This is a practice that originated 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, and the place of origin is Tibet. A practicing monk founded Ripple Qigong in pursuit of immortality. At first, the function of this exercise was only to strengthen the body and delay aging. But in the battle with the Dark Clan, the Pillar Man, thousands of years ago, a clan using ripples appeared, and they were the earliest batch of Ripple warriors. Unfortunately, 3 powerful Pillar Men appeared among the Dark Clan, and the Ripple warriors fought with them, and most of them were eventually wiped out. The Ripple clan also gradually disappeared, but this Ripple cultivation method was still passed down over time. Of course, this is the background story of JoJo and the origin of Ripple Qigong. In this world of Jujutsu, the combat system Ripple should not exist. But everything the other party said just now is exactly the same as the Ripple principle in Luo Cheng's impression. The difference is that Miao Miao's practice of this breathing method cannot produce ripples, but can only strengthen the physical body and strengthen the magic power in the body. In general, the effect of ripples is to control the body's energy to produce life. Thinking of this, Luo Cheng also sat down cross-legged and started vomiting, under the guidance of the other party. At first, Luo Cheng couldn't get the hang of it. Miao Miao's younger brother didn't find it strange either. Although the practice of breathing is just breathing, it is very difficult to practice it in practice. It requires continuous practice to find the correct breathing method and maximize the mobilization of cells in the body. Then keep it consistent all the time, and then you can truly complete the practice. Then it will be accumulated bit by bit, making the mantra and the body stronger. But gradually, he found that something was wrong. Luo Cheng's breathing began to become steady at a speed visible to the naked eye. Cursed spirit looked like he had seen a ghost, and within 10 minutes it became steady and consistent. All the cells in his body came to life. He was dumbfounded. It took his sister more than half a month to master the practice of breathing. This has already been hailed by the teacher as a genius that is rare to see in 10 years. Whereas Luo Cheng, you can get started in less than 10 minutes. Don't worry too much, I have done similar practice before. The practice of breathing was accomplished by Luo Cheng. It's just that I practiced breathing in the first place just so that I could exert my full strength in battle. Today's breathing method is not, it is a very special practice method. During the breathing process, he can truly feel that his control over the body is higher. But there is still a long way to go before the ripples are generated and contain another kind of energy that is different from the power of the spell. Even if that's the case, it's so awesome. My sister was. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will tear your mouth apart, Mulati. Mulati is the name of cursed spirit. Its full name is Halamalati, which means the rising sun. At this time Miao Miao also opened her eyes. When she was practicing just now, she noticed the conversation between her brother and Luo Cheng. She didn't pay much attention at first. She thought that the practice of breathing out and breathing was not that easy. Her younger brother's teachings were not as professional as the teacher's. It would be strange if she could learn it well. Who knows, this murderer got started in just 10 minutes. What a blind eye. What made Miao Miao even more shocked was that the sky was struck by lightning. Luo Cheng is not only quick to learn, but also masters it as fast as flying a plane. In the days that followed, Luo Cheng would practice the breathing method with Miao Miao every day. After the first day's experience, Miao Miao was mentally prepared, feeling that Luo Cheng, this fierce man, might be the spiritual genius mentioned by the teacher. Because when a month passed, when Luo Cheng completely mastered this breathing method and practiced for a month, Miao Miao used the power of the spell to sense it, and felt that Luo Cheng's blood was surging, which was 50% stronger than when he saw it a month ago. Although the practice method of breathing has a strong physical strengthening effect, long-term practice can delay aging and prolong life. But she had never even heard of such an obvious improvement, let alone seen it. This is because the number of heavenly and tyrant kings is too small. Looking at the history of Jujutsu throughout the world, they are rare. Therefore, there is no record of the terrible effects that Tiantian and Tyrant will have if they tap into their own potential through this practice method. It's unreasonable, it's really unreasonable. Miao Miao's eyes almost popped out when she saw Luo Cheng smashing the boulder into pieces with one punch. This is pure physical power, without even a trace of magical blessing. I'm different from you. I don't have any magical power in my body. I only have a strong body that surpasses ordinary people. Is this just transcending ordinary people? Meow Meow did know a little bit. There was a very special kind of group of people in this world. They are deprived of the possibility of becoming jujutsu masters from birth, and in return, God will grant them superhuman physiques. But the teacher didn't say that he would be so ridiculously strong. Chapter 58. The only one in this world. Jujutsu is not just limited to Tokyo, there are groups of jujutsu masters all over the world. Even Tian Yuan, who is extremely respected and valued by the Tokyo Jujutsu community, seems to have a deep connection with Daxia and is a native of this land. Naturally, Daxia also has its own jujutsu organization. Meow Meow is now studying in a school similar to Jujutsu High School and is the most talented magician of this generation. And this genius has been severely beaten by Luo Cheng recently. Because she is still young, Meow Meow does not need to go out to perform the exorcism work of cursed spirit. She goes home every weekend to accompany her parents. She found that every time she came back, the blood in Luo Cheng's body would surge a little more, and the potential seemed to be endless. With continuous practice, little by little, it was quickly realized. In just the past 3 months, Luo Cheng's body has become more than twice as strong as when he entered Tibet. In the past, Luo Cheng cultivated his body by constantly breaking the limits of the human body, destroying cells again and again and allowing them to regenerate, becoming stronger and more energetic. The breathing method taught by Mulati, or the breathing method passed down by domestic jujutsu masters, is more advanced. Exercise can be performed through breathing, and the efficiency is greatly improved. But this is not enough. Luo Cheng could feel that he had become stronger, but there was still some distance before ripples would occur. Double. Only when his body's strength is at least twice as strong as before can ripples appear in his body. This feeling is very strange, because there are no ripples in this world, and Meow Meow's teacher does not know that breathing practice can produce another kind of energy that is different from mantra power. But Luo Cheng had such a hunch, and it was very strong. One day. 1 week. January. Time passes day by day, and on this day, Luo Cheng has been in Tibet for more than half a year. Winter has passed quietly, but the snow on the grassland has not completely melted, and the temperature is still very cold. On this day, Luo Cheng sat cross-legged on a mountain bag and performed unique breathing practices facing the sunrise. Just like the luck of a martial arts practitioner, when oxygen enters Luo Cheng's body and travels around the whole body. The next second, in the boiling cells in his body, a bright energy quietly bloomed. Like golden lightning, after half a year of practice, Luo Cheng finally understood the power of ripples when his physical strength doubled. He opened his eyes, looked at the ripples of energy gathered in his fists, and punched the ground without hesitation. Boom! The powerful blow hit the hill like a volcano erupting, sending up smoke and dust all over the sky. The ground was torn into pieces like broken glass. Success. It took Luo Cheng half a year to finally master the power of ripples. Now, he could feel the surging energy and blood in his body, surging like the sea, which was extremely astonishing. The next second, he concentrated the ripples on his feet, and the golden energy rushed like thunder. He charged up and kicked, and he immediately crossed hundreds of meters, and the person flew out like a cannonball. During this process, there was a dull loud noise in the air, which was like a sonic boom. 1 second beyond 340 meters, a sonic boom occurred. Meow Meow arrived late today, but as soon as she arrived, she saw that the hillock where she usually practices was blown up, and then Luo Cheng shot out of the smoke and dust in the sky like a sharp arrow, shaking the air. From a physical point of view, it is a sonic boom. When the speed reaches a certain level, even the air can vibrate. What's this? Meow Meow stared blankly at the man who had been scolded by her mother for half a year. At this moment, Luo Cheng had his back to the sunrise, and his whole body was surging with an energy he had never seen before, like golden lightning, wrapping around every part of his body. Ripple. Luo Cheng now feels extremely comfortable all over his body. The nature and the world he is in make him extremely happy, as if the air is sweet. Ripple. What is it again? A kind of energy produced in the human body. When the body is strong to a certain extent, it is born from the cells. Come, I will teach you. Teach, teach, teach. Teach your sister, teach, teach. Do you think everyone is a pervert like you? The more she comes into contact with Luo Cheng, the more Miao Miao understands how abnormal or powerful Luo Cheng is. Like a humanoid Tyrannosaurus. But thinking so, Miao Miao still longed for the energy in Luo Cheng. Luo Cheng knew her temper, and even if she didn't tell her, he would take the initiative to explain it to her and teach her the knowledge of ripples. Ripples are actually easy to understand, just like chakra in Naruto. Everyone produces weak energy when they breathe. It's just that people who have mastered ripples can use specific breathing to accumulate more with less, and gather greater energy. This energy is the vibration of the sun, which is equivalent to sunlight, hot and powerful. Therefore, Dachao can quickly make the branches bloom because the energy of sunlight he injects has a ripening effect. The generation of ripples requires certain conditions for breathing. Breathing must be carried out continuously and regularly. If fear arises in the heart, it will lead to breathing confusion. But when you overcome fear, your breathing becomes regular and unshakable. On the other hand, ripples are the product of courage. Luo Cheng explained patiently and seriously told Miao Miao to overcome her fear. This is not easy. For example, Luo Cheng himself had just overcome his fear not long ago, received Mulati's forgiveness, and was liberated from his dream. The power of ripples becomes more powerful the more concentrated it is. The principle is like a high-pressure water gun. Focus on one point and reach the peak. What's the use of talking so much? I don't even know what a ripple is. Miao Miao had outstanding talent, and she understood most of Luo Cheng's words. But the problem is that there are no ripples in her body at all. Even her teacher, who has been practicing breathing techniques for decades, has never heard of ripples, and there is no record of ripples in history books. In other words, Luo Cheng is the only magician in the world who has realized a new energy beyond the power of mantra through the practice of breathing. Luo Cheng fell into thinking after hearing this. If you are just Miao Miao, it is normal that you cannot understand the ripples in a short period of time. But if no one in the history books understands it, then something is a little abnormal. He couldn't help but call out the Crimson King. Thinking about it, he has never met a second substitute messenger so far, as if he is the only substitute messenger in this world. Is the same true for ripples? Chapter 59. News about the ugly treasure. There is no doubt that Luo Cheng is special, and he has known it for a long time. Since awakening the substitute, he has not been able to meet the second substitute user for such a long time. There are also certain rules in the world of stand-ins, and they are destined to meet and attract each other. As a result, several years later, he could not find a second stand user. People in the Jujutsu world also regarded the Red King as a cursed spirit, and apparently had no contact with a stand user. So is the ripple now. He doesn't think he is the one in a million genius. According to Miao Miao, this breathing method has been passed down for thousands of years. For such a long time, no one understood the ripples from it, but he successfully understood it in half a year. There have been so many heroes in Daxia for thousands of years, how could he dare to call himself the most outstanding one? There is only one possibility. He is special, and the special thing is that his soul is different from anyone else in this world. In the world of Jujutsu, the soul is a very important existence. Or maybe it's because he is the tyrant of heaven and his physical potential is strong enough to produce brand new energy after exercising his body to the extreme. But no matter which one it is, Jujutsu masters like Miao Miao cannot control the power of the ripples. Later, Luo Cheng did not give up teaching Miao Miao ripple. As a result, apart from strengthening her spell power and making her body stronger, the breathing method did not have the possibility of any awakening ripples. Luo Cheng then gave up and began to concentrate on practicing the use of ripples. Ripple is very versatile, which is fully reflected in the second part of JoJo. Luo Cheng is not prepared to follow the path of Chao. He is more suitable to be like Da Chao, who does not focus on skills and focuses on strength. In the final analysis, ripples can only increase his power. What is truly powerful is his own ability, including the Red King's. Coming back to ripples, this energy has a lot of versatility. Delaying aging and extending lifespan are just one of them. In battle, ripples can also play a therapeutic role. Although the effect is not as good as the reversal technique, it can still play a key role. Luo Cheng pulled out a long knife, cut open his palm, and then ran ripples for treatment. It can be seen that as the golden ripples move quickly, The blood in the wound on his palm no longer flows out visibly to the naked eye, and scars form little by little, and then completely healed. The effect is stronger than the phenomenon. Is it because of heaven and the tyrant? Is my body too much beyond that of ordinary people? Luo Cheng couldn't feel the pain because the ripples had another effect, blocking the pain. In this way, the characters in JoJo have developed a fighting technique. Spring punch. Separate the joints of your own arms to increase the range of fist attacks, because the ripples can ignore pain, and you will not feel pain even if the joints are separated. Although it's not as good as Luffy's, it's a very useful technique. The other thing is conductivity. Just like sound can travel through different media, ripples can travel in a variety of ways. After mastering this technique, you can easily beat the cow across the mountain. The most classic among them is Uncle Kibbelin's immortal ripple speed, which can hit opponents through walls. The other is attraction, or fixity. Those who are skilled in the use of ripples can use ripples to adsorb themselves to walls, making tall buildings appear to be on the ground. Walking in the water is not a problem. Using the principle of magnets with same poles repelling each other, the ripples on the water surface repel the ripples in the body, thereby achieving the purpose of walking on water. All in all, ripples can do some incredible things. Luo Cheng has only awakened ripple not long ago, and many moves need to be mastered slowly. Ever since, Meow Meow and Mulati were more and more stunned by Luo Cheng's next practice. He would sometimes see Luo Cheng suddenly jump into the lake and sink to the bottom, making himself wet. At first, Meow Meow only thought it was funny, thinking that this guy must have a crazy mind. A few days later, Luo Cheng jumped into the lake again. The expected entry into the water was no longer visible, only Luo Cheng's feet were firmly planted in the water, as if he were walking on flat ground. Next, he ignored the steep cliff, stood on it with both feet, and walked upright. Later, they also saw Luo Cheng hit a boulder with all his strength. As a result, the boulder he hit was not damaged, but the boulder behind him was blown to pieces. Afterwards, they saw dozens of boulders lined up side by side. After Luo Cheng punched out, all the boulders exploded. What stunned Meow Meow and Mulati the most was that as Luo Cheng became more and more skilled in ripple practice, the fist he swung out could actually extend and contract like a spring. It only took Luo Cheng 6 months to complete the above practices. Compared with the ripple genius Erchao Bian's skills, Luo Cheng did not pay attention to the skills of ripple and abandoned many usages. Luo Cheng's use of ripples is similar to Da Chao's, pursuing greater destructive power. The Meow Meow siblings witnessed with their own eyes how Luo Cheng completely turned into a human being. From being stunned at the beginning, both siblings are now numb. Who would have thought that by just teaching a breathing method, the other person would understand the ripple qigong and develop such a complex and changeable technique in such a short period of time? This is true genius. Meow Meow, a talented magician who is rare to see in 10 years, has been really hit hard in the past year, and she was much more humble when she was in school. The teacher only thought that she had matured and grown up. But only Meow Meow herself knew that she had been hit, and it was a critical hit. In the past 6 months, Meow Meow had not asked her teacher about the ripples. The answer was that there had never been such a thing as a ripple in history. Luo Cheng was the first to create a new type of energy besides mantra. And he taught you the kind that you can't even learn. Unconsciously. 1 year has passed since Luo Cheng entered Tibet. For Luo Cheng, the past year has undoubtedly been a huge harvest. After overcoming the fear that had been lingering deep in his heart for many years, his mind was fulfilled, and the Crimson King's time dilation was increased to the peak of more than 10 seconds. At the same time, he also acquired the breathing technique, and his body was more than twice as strong as before. Because in the past 6 months, the improvement brought by the breathing method to the body has become very small, obviously the physical potential of Tianhe Tyrant is not endless. Even with absolutely zero spell power, there is a limit. But now his body has become frighteningly powerful. He can be said to be the strongest in the world. Without the power of magic to resist, no magician can block his punch. In addition, the biggest surprise is the ripple qigong. On this day, Luo Cheng continued his practice as always. After completing his daily practice, he walked into the city and contacted Tokyo. The signal in the grassland is not good, especially in this era. Cross-border long-distance calls cannot come in, so we can only make active calls in the city. In the past year, he contacted Mei Mei and Kong Xiu regularly every week. Even these two people have not been able to find Fuhaishier's legacy so far. But today, he finally got the information he wanted. There was news about the cursed tool Tennis Hoko that was necessary to defeat Gojo Satoru. The cursed spirit has been found. Chapter 60, Insect Arrow. A few days later, Luo Cheng, who has been in Tibet for a year, is finally leaving. He stood on the road, and only Miao Miao and Mulati came to see him off. The poor parents still refuse to forgive Luo Cheng, but they will not continue to curse. In 1 year, if you can't scold those who can, you will have finished scolding them long ago. From their daughter's mouth, they also learned that Luo Cheng had not been doing well in recent years. After a man destroyed the den of human traffickers, he exiled himself to Japan. At that time, Luo Cheng was only a teenager, less than 15 years old, and the inner torture he suffered was enough. Even though I still can't let go, I still don't want to kill him to pay for it like I did at the beginning. Brother, do you really want to leave? Well, I'm going to Tokyo. What important thing is it? Yes. Luo Cheng's words are still so concise, even if the other party is the brother and sister. Well, when your work is completed, you must come and play. What are you playing for? Don't think it's okay. Finish your affairs and remember to come back. Miao Miao crossed her arms over her chest and snorted. Luo Cheng said a long time ago that when he completes his work, he will come back to atone for his sins. Whether he uses his own life or sends himself to prison, he will have no regrets. But neither Miao Miao nor Mulati wanted it. They believed that there was a serious shortage of manpower in the Jujutsu world. Having one more humanoid Tyrannosaurus like Luo Cheng has only advantages and no disadvantages. Therefore, Miao Miao and the others hope that Luo Cheng will finish his work and come back as a Jujutsu master to contribute to the stability of society. This is atonement. I promise you that I will come back alive. Luo Cheng nodded very hard. This is Mulati and Miao Miao's request, and he will agree to it unconditionally. HMPH. Miao Miao snorted again and took out an arrow from her backpack. Here's this thing for you. Luo Cheng looked over, then looked at it with an expression of astonishment. At first he thought it was a cursed tool, but upon closer inspection, he discovered that it was an insect arrow. No, it's not the insect arrow in Part 5 that allows the stand to evolve into Requiem, but other arrows that can make the person hit awaken the stand or die. Where did you get this arrow? Luo Cheng looked at Miao Miao blankly. I don't know how it appeared in some den 4 years ago, but it suddenly appeared on my hand. Miao Miao couldn't tell for sure, so she revealed the strangeness of that day. The moment Luo Cheng beat Mulati to death, she was so angry that she just wanted to avenge her brother, but she didn't know that the fist she swung out was a fist, but when it hit Luo Cheng, there was an arrow in her hand. Later, the arrow was confiscated by the trafficker couple and thrown into the house's debris. Unbeknownst to Luo Cheng, he killed the person and left. On the contrary, Miao Miao, after gaining freedom, took the arrow away and kept it with him. I feel like this arrow must be related to one of your weird things. She was talking about the Crimson King, not the cursed spirit, but it was better than the cursed spirit. There is always a strange feeling of returning something to its original owner. Miao Miao whispered, and then said, but be careful. No one who is stabbed by this arrow can survive except you. In other words, no one can awaken the substitute except him. I know, thank you, Miao Miao. Luo Cheng held the arrow firmly and drilled it into the ring in his hand. If no one can awaken the substitute, then this arrow is equivalent to having the ability to kill with one strike, and its value is immeasurable. Also, since this arrow exists, does the insect arrow also exist? Luo Cheng looked into the distance. There was nothing there, only blue sky and white clouds, but he seemed to be able to cross the ocean and look in the direction of ancient Egypt. But that's not something to consider now. He said goodbye to Mulati and Miao Miao, jumped onto a small truck, headed towards the airport, and left Tibet. 1 day later, Luo Cheng returned to Tokyo, Japan. He planned to settle down first, but found someone in the airport holding a sign with his name. He walked over and the man quickly asked, is this Mr. Luo Cheng? It's me. That's great. Miss Mei Mei asked us to pick you up. Please let's go together. After saying that, he took Luo Cheng out of the airport, got into a car, and came to Mei Mei's office. It's been a year, not much has changed here. It's still that simple yet luxurious office. Mei Mei still looked the same, as beautiful and charming as ever. After seeing him, her mouth showed the same elegant smile as before. Had it not been for the news, would you have planned to stay there? She said this with a smile, but Luo Cheng felt a sense of resentment. Even he himself never thought that he would be gone for a year without leaving. Except for a weekly phone call, the two of them never met once. You said you found the cursed spirit. Luo Cheng wanted to change the subject, but Mei Mei didn't give him the chance to talk. Luo Cheng couldn't play with her. Let's not talk about this today. Let's go and fix your sloppy appearance. Otherwise, if you go on a date with a homeless person, others will think I'm a pervert. She finished complaining about Luo Cheng without leaving any trace. Luo Cheng looked at himself. Indeed, he looked like a homeless man now. His beard has not been shaved in a year, and his hair has not been cut. It is messy and looks like a sharp guy. Mei Mei got off work early, led him to a nearby barber shop, and threw Luo Cheng in. The whole process of washing, cutting and shaving my hair took a full 2 hours. When they went out, Luo Cheng returned to his appearance a year ago, except that his skin was somewhat tanned, but he looked more determined. Mei Mei looked more pleasing to the eye, stretched out her hand to touch his angular face, and said, "You have changed a lot this year. It is the mind that changes, not the appearance." Mei Mei could feel that Luo Cheng was slightly different from a year ago, and his sharp eyes were brighter than before. Probably found the target. Isn't your goal to defeat Gojo? That was Shear's last wish. Now, I have found my goal and I will work hard to live. Yeah. Mei Mei took back her hand and turned around, laughing from the bottom of her heart. Come have a meal with me first. P.S. This is probably the last chapter before it goes on the shelves. I don't plan to write any comments. After writing for so many years, I have said everything that should be said and shouldn't be said. In the end, it is not as practical as this sentence. Dear friends, please subscribe. Bar. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.